welcome back to Bombshell Behavior. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jordan Mobley.
Hi, everyone. I'm one of your co-hosts, Amaya Kerwin.
And do we have a show for you today? Just when we thought
Woo!
that the show was like getting steady, no, movie night was this week.
I
Everything
love
was
movie
even
night.
crazier. Honestly, yeah, this movie night, it was kind of a hard watch, not gonna lie. We'll get into that
Yeah,
a little bit later, but it was definitely draining, a draining week for sure. Mm.
yeah.
Yeah,
In the smallest of ways, I feel like, I mean, I guess you could say in the simplest of terms, it was kind of a disappointing week for me. Just to give my overall, assessment, I feel like in some ways, I actually really liked the week, and then in other ways, depending on who we're talking about, I guess. I was very like disappointed in some of the like behaviors displayed towards certain islanders and stuff. Um, I do typically love movie night just because I think it's important for everyone to self-reflect, even if you're not in a couple or whatever. I think seeing yourself on TV and being reminded that you're being recorded is like something that's really important, I think, for the Islanders on this show, and especially with how they move and stuff. And I think Movie Week definitely showed a lot of behaviors and stuff like that that we'll get into. But um,
yeah,
it was a wild week because we didn't have movie night last year. So
yeah. And some would argue that we needed movie night last year. Personally, now that I reflect on it, I don't know if it was necessary. I
I
feel
don't
like
think we did. It wouldn't have
last
hit the
year,
same.
it wouldn't have hit the same. A lot of the things last year had already been said.
Hmm.
Everyone hated each other. It wouldn't have moved anything,
And
to be
everyone said
honest.
everything. I'll give it to season seven. If they had beef, they said it to your face. I think that
Exactly.
that was their point in the mailbox challenge. I don't think they'll do that this year because they did movie night. But I think
Yeah.
that was their movie night was the mailbox challenge kind of thing.
Yeah. Season 7 was definitely an anomaly for sure. They changed
Yeah,
the whole format of the show. But we're
literally.
back to business. We had movie night,
Right.
but we'll
Season
get
eight.
into that. There's a lot to talk about before that.
Yes.
So let's just start off with a little bit about After Sun. I really don't have much to say about After Sun this week,
Me either.
but I will say it was interesting getting to hear some of the Casa people's perspectives. So the people that got dumped from the island were Sydney, Amora, Corey, and Ronnie. Sorry, I'm like
Mhm.
forgetting all of them.
I
Ronnie,
know.
and then Che. Am I missing someone? I think there was
You
Corey
said
too.
Yeah, you said Sydney, Amora, Carl, Ronnie,
Corey,
Che.
Ronnie, Che. I feel like we're missing someone. I feel
I think we
bad.
are. I think there's six people. Hold on. Um, yeah, Sydney, Amora, Carl, Ronnie, Che. Did we say Corey?
Yes, we said okay. Yeah, we got everyone. Yeah, we got everyone
Okay.
because there was four guys and two girls.
Yeah, but that's five people that we said. We said Sydney, Amora, Carl, Ronnie, Che,
Che and Corey.
Corey. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So it was interesting hearing some of their perspectives. I will say the public really quickly changed on them based on their perspectives. Because for starters, when Sydney and Amora were able to talk, and I don't know what you call that little room that they sit in before they
Like a
go out to talk.
debrief,
Yeah,
little
like
like
a
it's like the holding room. Like
yeah,
before you go on stage, it's like that.
yeah, so they were sitting in that little holding room, and Sydney was basically explaining how she felt kind of cheated by Bryce because he didn't explore, which I have nothing to
Um,
say about that because I feel
I
like
mean, to be honest, like, did we think Bryce was gonna really explore Sydney? No. Like, I went into Casa believing that Zach he would be open, but only but so open. Like, he would only really vibe with somebody if they really vibed. But in that short amount of time, it's hard to like. It's already hard enough to like leave a couple, especially if you like them. So I just felt like he would have struggled regardless. It didn't really matter the
uh,
girl. I don't think it was personal. I just think, you know.
yeah, I just think a lot of people were upset about that because at the end of the day, he was respectful throughout the entire thing. And just because he didn't kiss you outside of a challenge, you can't really be mad about that because out of everyone, he, like you said, he was the only person who probably wasn't going to put their full amount of effort into Casa anyways. And you just have to kind of take that on the chin. As
Right.
far as Amora, I kind of got the feeling that she was like surprised, but also not upset about the fact that Sincere didn't pick her. Like it was unfortunate, but I don't think she
She
too
wasn't
many
shocked.
emotions.
I
Yeah, too
honestly
many
don't think
emotions about
she
it.
based on how Amora and we'll get more into it although she was barely on screen to be honest this week. I think that Amora, if she knew that if she was sent back in when they were told that like they would get that opportunity like for the public to vote for them to go back in, um I think Amora kept the same beat throughout the whole week. Like I really feel like she didn't really feel a way about Sincere. I don't think it was necessarily because her feelings were hurt. I just think she knew the game. Like she knew that Sincere plays this game with everyone, and she got to watch it. I mean, she got to watch it in 4K. You know, him do it with Soul. So I think for her, it wasn't really surprising. I just think she was just kind of like, it is what it is, and I hope that um, going forward, he'll be able to be more honest. But I don't think she didn't put all her eggs in that basket. Like she was very content with like what it was. I just think she was probably more disappointed about the fact that like he would go back to his old ways in doing what he was doing rather than her not being chosen.
I will say at this point, because this has been a topic of conversation, which we'll dive deeper into, but I feel like at this point, Sincere, it's kind of hard to go back to his whole else is coming in. Like, there's no reason why they would bring in bombshells at this point. We're going into our last week. Like, all he has to do is to show Melanie that he actually likes her, but it's kind of hard to do that when he's not being tested anymore. He has no more time to prove to Melanie that she is his first option for real,
Yeah.
because there's no one else being sent in. There's no one
Hmm.
else in the villa other than Melanie for him.
Hmm.
It's kind of hard to prove your actions at this point, in my
Well,
opinion.
also, Amora kind of took it as like she was like strike two or three. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She kind of, and I think she knew that Melanie would likely take him back. So there wasn't, and to be fair, the public did as well. Like we were all very much under the impression that Sincere would probably go back to Melanie, and Melanie would probably go back to Sincere when it was time to recouple. Um, but I think that she's a little bit like checked out because she didn't really want to be a part of that triangle. She wasn't interested in that at all. And good on her. Good on her. Because you know what? I don't want to be in anyone's triangle either. I think in regards to Carl and the guys and their perspective on how the recoupling went and things of that nature, um, none of it really surprised me. I think that a lot of people were kind of championing Carl um, with his response. I think that he gave a fair response. I think that people are kind of reading a little too much into it, if I'm being 100% honest, because I don't understand like why he wouldn't back Anaya, especially like he doesn't know Casey personally. At that point, he didn't know him personally, so like why would he back Casey like that? I do think though that he did agree with where Casey was going as far as like the guys all kind of agreeing with Casey on, his whole journey in there and stuff, with his speech. I think Carl agreed with it, but I just think he was just like, he could have said it better, but it wasn't. I don't think he disagreed, and I think too many people read too much into that personally. But that's just my opinion. Um,
I think it's hard because, like, the thing that I have to keep reminding myself is that certain points, the Islanders don't know everything that we know, right? So
right.
at the point that these Casa Boys are talking, they don't know what Casey has said. They can only go by off of what they
Yeah,
watched
their
with us.
experience.
Right,
Right.
and what they experienced. So I do give because I know a lot of people were upset that Corey said that he was giving Casey his flowers. I do give him grace in that because at the end of the day,
Me too.
he only was able, sorry, I don't know why. He was only able to go by what he experienced and what he saw. And at that point, he was in Casa, so he wasn't able to see what KC was saying to the girls in Casa.
But
They,
also it's like, and I'm sorry, I'm just extending your point. Like
you're
the,
good.
I mean, we got to give everybody the same playing field, right? The Casa
Yeah,
boys and the Casa girls watch the show before they go in there. It's not like they don't know these people's characters, right? And before Casa, people didn't, people were kind of on edge with Casey. And from his experience in the recoupling, all of the guys that were sent home, their experience was what he said was not bad. It was just like Carl just said, he just didn't agree with his delivery, but like his actual sentiment wasn't crazy. Um, because if Carl is saying that, then to me, like it's not weird that Ronnie and Corey and Che felt similarly. It's really not, because they all had the same experience. They all witnessed the same thing. Um, the girls did not, but at the end of the day, they also saw um, him in Casa, right? I think that Amora gave like a very fair assessment from someone that didn't pursue Casey. I think Sydney probably could have been a little bit biased, but at the end of the day, she didn't go back in the villa, so it didn't really matter. But
yeah.
you
I mean,
know,
out of the two of them, it wouldn't have mattered either one who would
you're
have went
right,
back in,
right. And
honestly.
honestly, for them sending them back in, they only sent they we only got to vote on a girl to go back in because everyone knew that the whole point of them going back in really was for Carl. It had nothing really to do with Amora and all that. Everyone thought at best she might be able to shake up something with and bring out some drama with Mel and Sincere. But let's be so for real. Like on the After Sun, she wasn't even really doing that much. So I was kind of like, if she goes back in, maybe they'll send in a bombshell and maybe like that will do something. But that was at best case scenario. Um, and we all know, like I said, this was really for Carl to go back in there and be with Anaya because I don't think production wants Anaya to be the only one single because if she had, let's be honest, if Carl didn't go back in there, Anaya probably wouldn't be on the island right now. So I'm leaving it there, but I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
That was
I
After
don't
Sun.
know. Yeah, that was after Sun.
Anyway,
So we get into Sunday night's episode. From the start, Anaya is crying and Melanie goes to comfort her. I don't really like the conversation that was had around the fire pit between some of the boys and Parmita and Tiara because I think at that
oh, I'm at
time
the
it was,
wrong. Sorry, I'm on the wrong notes then. Okay, sorry.
no,
I'm
you're
back.
fine. No,
Go
you're
ahead.
fine. I didn't really like the conversation that they were having at that point because I feel like I have a lot of thoughts about how that recoupling went. And honestly, the more I thought about it, I think both sides were wrong. I think KC was wrong, and I think Anaya was a little bit wrong in that situation as well. Only because at that point, I think we've talked about this before. Like, she can't really be mad at what he did because she was getting to know
She doesn't
Carl at the
know.
same time. Right. And she didn't know what he had said. So I do think that whole situation was wrong on both sides, on both ends. I don't like how they were kind of laughing at her. I don't know if they were laughing at her, or laughing at the situation, but Parmita was saying like, "I'm a grown woman, like da 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 da. I'm 27 years old," and I'm like, "Girl, you're not acting like it right now." Like,
She wasn't. She wasn't. Okay, to answer what you said about like you don't know, I honestly don't think they were laughing at Anaya. I don't. I think that they were laughing at the situation. Do I think it was the right time? No. But at the same time, I think everyone had too big of expectations of Casey going over to talk to Anaya. Why would he do that? There's so many, like you said, there's so many reasons to fault both sides in some ways. Um, After the girls telling Anaya for like a week that the man would come back with somebody, I mean, I think Anaya, this is like my personal opinion on the whole thing. I think the girls were just mad because he came back with somebody. Like they only knew the heart rate challenge at that point of,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They
I
only
mean,
knew,
from all of the facts laid out, that is the that we can actually come to. Like, I really don't
yeah,
think it had, the more I thought about it, I don't think it had anything to do with the disrespect per se. I think it was the fact that he had moved on in 3 days.
yeah.
But then if that's the argument, then that can't be the argument because Anaya was doing the same thing. She
And
just
you
didn't
can't
choose to bring
feel
Carl back.
right. And you can't feel, you literally, I'm so sorry, but you literally can't feel disrespected by that. Like, you can feel rejection and you can feel sad about the rejection. And I think that that is totally fair. And I think her crying was totally from that. But if I was in any of their shoes, Casey, Corbin, TT, Parmita, whatever, right? Again, don't think it was the right timing, but I think also it was, they were doomed if they did or did not bring anyone back. Because if you put everything into perspective, had Anaya brought Carl back and hypothetically, just in some other universe, Casey came back alone, there would not have been the same response from the guys, and there would not have been this like attack the same way. Did Casey say everything right? No, I don't think he said everything right in that moment, but I also don't think that the reason why they were upset was because they felt disrespected. Um, so
Yeah,
in,
I think both
you know what
things
I
can
mean?
be true. I think
Right.
the way that KC went about it was wrong because he said a lot of things like not giving enough about Anaya's feelings and like, or just like doing it for him. Like, okay, like now you're backing yourself into a corner and like it's riling everybody up. But at the same time, I don't think it was the disrespect thing, which Anaya kept saying, but like realistically, it can't be
It
that
was
because you
not.
didn't know anything at that point. You like
Yes.
she literally knew nothing about what he said. The only thing that you saw was him kissing Tierra, which you also kissed Carl, and he
So
saw
at that
that as
point,
well.
the exploring playing field is even. Like
Yeah, for sure.
there is no winner, no loser. At the end of the day, as far as like the Costa recoupling, I really feel like I said, I don't think Casey said all the right things in the moment, but I mean, I don't know what people expected him to say. Like at the same time, it's like everyone knew he would bring someone back. His speech was not going to be in favor of Anaya. So I guess I didn't have the expectation that he was going to say all the right things anyway. Because if you're bringing somebody back, the whole point of bringing them back is because you feel like that's worth exploring or because you feel like that relationship is stronger for whatever the case is, right? That goes across the board, no matter if it's Casey and Anaya or somebody else. So I feel like with this whole situation, if both had brought people back, that even would have been a different response, right? But I think that because she didn't, um, it the crying and the tears and the this and that was more an embarrassment of rejection, and less of a disappointment out of disrespect. I think that when movie night comes, yes, absolutely, we'll get there, but in that moment, I just felt like the girls and the ganging up and all that stuff. I'm just like, I just don't agree with it. I don't think that that's right because I don't think that that would have been the same had things been the other way around. Um,
I will say though, as far as like the aftermath of the recoupling, maybe he didn't need to talk to her that night, but a conversation the next day might have helped the situation. And I feel
I
like
think
he was
so.
avoiding that for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe he
I
felt
think
backed into a corner. I don't know.
I felt the
But
same way as you too because like I felt the same because I was like, well, it's been, some time, whatever. Everyone slept on it, you know what I mean? Like I felt like maybe a conversation would have been nice. I did kind of see some comments about this and I could understand why he didn't. And I'm only saying this because in an earlier part in their journey. Um, they had a conversation, and Casey expressed to Anaya basically that he didn't approach her because he knew that she needed to cool off, because there's been times when Anaya didn't want to talk to Casey in the moment. Should he have asked the question? I think so. But I think he probably was just going off of pattern and less of like in the moment thinking. Um,
Yeah, I just think it gave her more ammunition, like
True.
in the challenge, because I mean, unless you want to talk about some of the conversations that were had before Megan Thee Stallion got there. Oh, is there anything? Because
Oh,
I was just about to go.
let's just go into it, girl.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Like,
So Queen Megan Thee Stallion came back once again. I love when she
hey,
comes because it's usually during some drama and it like lightens everything up, like
I
whenever she
know,
steps foot into
I
the
know.
villa. But it was some sort of, I don't even know what they called it.
Hold
It was a
on. Let
cake
me,
challenge.
yeah, musical cakes.
Yeah, musical cakes. So the first part of the challenge was the girls and the guys were separated into groups and they had a whole bunch of cakes lined up in a circle. And basically, they would have to like shake their little tail
They have
feathers.
to twerk, yeah.
Yeah. And then once she blew the horn, you would have to sit on a cake and whoever was the last person standing won the round. And it was fun to watch. Like it was fun to have see them have
That was a
fun.
different. They always do a twerk challenge with her, so that because
I
they did
mean,
that last
because
year
it's
too. It
Megan
was
Thee
fun.
Stallion, so
Duh, yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. It was
so this one was
fun.
fun.
Yeah. Tiara won the round for the girls, and
Hmm.
I think it was just a fun little challenge. Like everyone, the bygones had been bygones. Everyone had said like it was cool. They were all fine at this point. Like the girls had hugged it out. I think they were gonna
Right.
forgive each other so quickly because that was a really tumultuous fight that they had where everyone was screaming back and forth. I really didn't think that they were going to apologize so quickly, but I think it shows character and growth that they did. So I'm glad that everyone was fine because like it really
Hmm.
didn't have to be that serious. But yeah, Tiara won for the girls. And can I just say the guys, it was horrible, but they were cracking me up when they were
Girl,
doing
every time
their
they do this twerk challenge, I'm like, this is honestly so funny because the guys were actually prepping like more than the girls, I feel. Like even before Megan came, when they knew like they were gonna be doing some kind of challenge, it was just funny. Like they always give their all and it's just funny.
no, it was hilarious. Can I just say I think Dylan would might be my MVP for that
I
that
love
challenge.
Dylan. I loved Dylan
He
during
put
that
his
challenge.
all into it. He's funny. But the one thing I can say about him is he is hilarious. But Casey ended up winning that round for the guys.
Mhm.
So Casey and
Their
Tierra,
couple,
their
they
couple,
won.
they
Yeah,
won,
they won.
which was fun. But then we got
Yeah,
into the mess of it all. So for the next part of the challenge, the girls, it was kind of like a whack-a-mole game. Their heads were like poking out of these little circles, like a whack-a-mole, you know?
right,
I'm
right.
trying to like put this into perspective,
I
like a
know. Maybe we'll
visual.
pop a picture up or
Yeah,
something. Yeah,
yeah. But their heads were poking out of these little circles, and the guys had a cake in their hand. And Megan basically asked to throw a cake at a girl and then explain why. So
yeah, and
that
vice versa. So
yeah.
they didn't
Well, the
vote for
girls
both,
had like little
like
icing things.
icing
Yeah.
like
Icing
sprays.
shooter. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It
I
was
don't know
just,
what the
yeah.
word is, but
Yeah. It
an
was like a water
oversized
gun.
icing thing. Yeah.
It was like
A
a
water.
icing water gun. I don't know. But
Yeah.
that's the best way I can describe it. And then they got to shoot whatever guy they wanted to. So
Yes.
do you have the
So
order for
I
who went?
do.
Okay,
I do.
perfect.
So the boys went first, and so this part of the challenge was called Sweet Revenge, and basically the guys had to say basically their issues with the girls, like why they're picking them to throw a cake at.
And can we just say not all of them were negative? Some of them were like joking. A lot of them
Right,
were
yeah, because
on the
I
guys'
don't,
end, it was more so jokes. On the girls'
yeah,
end,
It was
Not as
serious
much.
business.
Right.
So the guys went first, and I do have the order. So Gall went first, and his says, I think he said like took a BFF, took his best friend in Casa. So
Yeah, Corey.
so right, so he chose Melanie, to throw a cake at, um, and then Zach did one at Trinity for shouting, I think, or something like that.
Said he's tired of her shouting at him and she's jealous of his connection with Bryce. Which, okay, can I just say, as much as we have problems with Zach and the way he talks to people, at the end of the day, him, Kata, Trinity, and Bryce are family. We have to accept that. Nobody's breaking them up at this point. Like, they love
Yeah,
each other. Think everyone I think the problem with Love Island a lot of the time is the fan bases. Like, why are we more mad than the Islanders? If they don't have a problem with it, let us just move it along. Like, I don't even care about that group anymore. Like, if they want to be friends, they're friends. Like, it's fine. Whatever.
yeah, yeah. Plus, it's like we can only be as mad as the Islanders are. I think with certain issues, right? Obviously, if the issue is new and fresh, the Islanders may not know certain things. But I think with old issues and you know friendship issues, relationship issues, whatever, like we can only be as concerned as the Islanders are. So the public needs to really like take a breather. It's
Exactly.
all good. Um,
Exactly.
Caleb went next, and I think he said that this girl like threw herself at him, gave him words that weren't the truth, and he chose Parmita. I thought he was going to choose Kenzie,
So
but he
too.
chose
But
Parmita.
I
Fair
think it
enough.
makes sense for both of them, to be
Yeah, fair enough.
honest.
Yeah.
I think he's kind
Um,
of over the Kinsey situation. So it makes sense that he would do
yeah,
Parmita.
yeah. And then Dylan went next, and he says, "Well, this girl got rid of my best friend because he misses Carl. Cake Denia."
Could I say something that he said that like
Yes.
really like I was like thinking about it because I was like, what is he talking about? He's like, I'm an OG Casa boy. Be an OG
Oh,
Casa
yes.
boy.
I remember him saying that now. Yeah.
Not serious. What are you talking about?
I was like, that doesn't exist, Dylan. Like,
Like,
that
do
literally
your
doesn't exist.
big one, I guess.
Right. And then Bryce, he talked about Paradise Cove. I didn't really get that one.
Was when him, Zach, and Kata went into that little room that they went into.
Oh, okay. Well, he pied Kata.
Yeah,
Um,
so a joke, basically. Yeah.
right. Or caked her, whatever. And then Sincere says, this person's like a fly on the wall, always has something to say when it has nothing to do with them. And he chose Jen, which,
You know what?
there's always
Sincere,
one.
Sincere is the I don't even have words for that. I was genuinely taken aback because it just seems like he's salty that Jen like continuously calls him out on his BS. That's what
Somebody
it
has
was
to do it.
giving. Right, because then he was like, she's breaking up the family. And then she said, I've been here for 2 weeks. And he was like, well, you're so new. Like, no, she's been here for 2 weeks. What are you
Yeah,
talking
I actually
about?
thought that was so funny because like this was like back to back with the whole Dylan thing too, and it was just funny. I'm like, I mean, Jen, obviously, she's been there for 2 weeks, but I was also like, I think I understood it from the perspective of like, I think he's just thinking of her as not a main character. So he's like, girl, like, I kind of took it as you're not really relevant because you're not in a couple. So
I just felt like that was rude. Like, there was
no,
no
it
need for
was.
him
I
to
just was
say that.
like, I was
And
like, whoa.
it comes from a place of him. Like, she consistently has called him out
Thank God.
since Saul was in there. So I think it comes from a place of like, she was, at this time, she's one of the only people like actually clocking you on your
Literally.
dishonesty. And I think that made him upset. But whatever. I
Who cares?
digress.
Um, I was saying who cares, not to what you said, but just like
No,
that
I
it
get
made him
it.
upset. Um, and then Casey went and he said the girls are being hostile and whatever. He
He said a bunch of BS. No
Yeah,
shade.
he said a lot of things. So he caked Trinity. Um, and yeah, honestly. uh it was kind of it was kind of one of those things for me where I was just like, he said a lot of unnecessary things as he does always. Um, but I do feel like in context, they were being a little hostile. Do I think he needed to say all that other stuff? No. But I do think the girls, like I said earlier, I think at the recoupling, some of the girls were doing a little bit too much. And that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm leaving that to bed because Casa, the recoupling is over now. But like, I just think some of them were doing a little bit too much at the time. But anyway, Megan said, Casey, do you feel that you went about things the wrong way and you were a little disrespectful towards Anaya and whatever? And Casey was like, well, how was I disrespectful? And Megan said, you don't remember anything from Casa. And then Anaya was like, yeah, you didn't check up on me or anything, and basically called him a coward. Um,
Yes, I have some things to say. First of all,
Go ahead.
thank you, Megan, for clocking his tea. Because what do you mean? How is that disrespectful? Like at the end of the day, you coming up with Tierra, issue, and I fear we're missing the plot with that. That was never the issue. It was every little comment that you said about Anaya. That was the issue. At this point, Anaya doesn't know any of that. So, like, whatever. That's my problem with KC. It's not the whole Tierra thing. It's the fact that he made so many disrespectful comments. Like, you didn't need to do all that. That's neither here nor there. But then this is what goes back to what I was saying about just giving her ammunition to come at you because at least attempted to talk to her before this challenge came. Like, you didn't have to do it that night, but an attempt would be nice to show that, hey, you actually cared about your connection with her because it was kind of giving like and I can see from her perspective it was giving like maybe he just didn't care. I was his safe option. Like it was disrespectful for him to not check up on me after we spent this amount of time together. Like I can see it from that perspective, which is why I was
Mhm.
like, he probably should have attempted to at least talk to her. Even if she didn't want to, you can at least say you tried. That's my entire point. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. I just feel like this week is was so long because my opinions changed so much about all of the contestants throughout the week. In this moment, yes, I felt like Megan had brought attention to something that was important, at least like it was like a heads up kind of thing. But I also was just like, it showed a lot of bias. Like, I feel like yes, it was good because I think it was good for Casey to see that it was more than one person that felt a way about how he was moving, especially because Megan came from the outside looking in, right? She's not in the villa, so she doesn't, she's not living it, but she's watched him where all those other girls haven't be rude and stuff like that. So I thought it was a little bit biased because I think we all already know that Carl came back for Anaya, so it was kind of the jab was important, but I felt like he wasn't really going to see his behavior until movie night came. Like I just was like, this is kind of pointless with him. Like I just felt
I
like he wasn't gonna
completely
really get it.
disagree because I feel like it could have been it probably was biased, but at the same time, it was deserved. Like he needed to hear these things
No,
because at
no,
this
he needed to
point,
hear it, but it was
but he
biased.
didn't think he did anything wrong. So he needed to hear it. I don't care who he heard it from. Like he didn't like he said, he didn't think about his actions or what he did until that point when she clocked him in the movie night. Like that's the only reason why he
That's
kind of
true.
had to backpedal. So someone has to call you out when you're being disrespectful and when you're doing things wrong. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. She's seen everything. Like that's all I'm gonna say. Like I think it was
No, that's
deserved.
true.
It was definitely
That's true.
deserved.
I do feel like it's sticky too because a lot of people came for like the After Sun hosts or whatever because they felt like they were biased too. Honestly, I don't really feel like they were biased. I feel like, especially with Sierra, that's her name, right?
Yeah.
I feel like she gave it fair play. I think at this point, I think for the Islanders, like it just showed a lot of bias, and maybe he felt like targeted in the moment. Not saying it was wrong, because listen, in my notes I said you better get these boys, Megan, saying it's not the respect, right? Like it's not. I'm sorry, saying that it is the respect. It's not like the action. It's like the respect portion of that, right? Of the action. So
Right. Because
that,
even after that, she wasn't like specifically coming at him either. She said a lot of you boys brought the other girls up just to tear the OG girls down. So she didn't even
yeah, that
come
is
at him
true.
directly only. Like she came for everyone who had something to say. So I just thought
True.
it was
But I want to say
necessary.
something. There was not enough cakes. There was no cakes at Zach, and I was a little bit like, I was just like, really,
That's
really. That's why I felt like
yeah.
it was a little bit biased, but that's just my opinion.
No,
Um,
yeah. We'll get into
it's not
that.
wrong to call it out, but yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Um, yeah, so it's the boys' turn. And Jaden, basically, she goes first. And she says that this person needs to step it up in his couple with Jen and Pascal. Um,
Something.
Go ahead.
I told y'all that this man does not like gin. I told y'all when she picked him that he does not
Girl.
like gin. And I'm so sorry, but Jen, like, I saw everything that happened this season coming from a mile away. Like, no
Hmm.
shade. He did not like her when
It
she
was
picked
clear as
him. It was
day.
clear as day. It was clear as
Yeah.
day. I feel so bad saying
Aesthetically,
it.
aesthetically, I felt like it would have been a vibe, but as
It
soon as
would
he opened
have.
his mouth, I was like, forget it.
I
I was
knew
like,
I knew when he was in Costa and he was trying to talk to Kenzie he was just using her to get into the villa. I just
these 30-year-old men, we need to do something. Um, these coffee shops, we got to do something. Anyway, so then Kata went next, and she said this is for Anaya because Casey didn't give her a convo. And then he was like, it was only one day. So like I said, she pied Casey. I knew somebody was gonna probably defend Anaya, to be honest. So I kind
yeah,
of saw that coming. Then Jen
yeah.
went next, and she said this is for Kenzie's disrespect. So basically, this is targeted at Corbin. Um, and I mean,
She completely missed him.
girl, I was like,
When she was shooting with her water gun, she literally aimed to the left and completely missed Morgan's face. What's funny
these
is he was
girls.
in the very front. Like, how did you miss him?
Literally, I was like, these girls. This is why you guys were given the icing things, so that way you didn't have to toss anything. Just
Exactly.
aim, just aim. That's it.
That was hilarious. I'm not even gonna
I
lie. She
know,
was cracking me up during that challenge.
I know. Jenna's funny. Then Parmita went next, and she said she just doesn't play any games. Like she's not dealing with it, whatever. And she also squirts Corbin. You know what? Fair game. She doesn't have any beef. She said, "Don't mess with me." Fair game.
Honestly, my opinions about Parmina changed by the day. Honestly,
Literally, her and Corbin. This is no shade, but all shade. They're my dingbat couple. Like they just tell each other exactly, and I love it.
I
Um,
don't know.
I love that for them. Like I just love that for them. They
I,
just
I
live
just,
in this.
I don't even know. Like,
I need some couple that's not like super serious, and that's what they are for me. Um, fair enough.
there's
Uh,
that. Yeah.
Trinity went next, and she said, always get something. Wait, I don't know. I don't even know if I wrote this right, but always get
And this
something
person always gets something in the challenges, so it might as well come
right.
from me.
Right. So she pied Bryce. Um,
I'm surprised by that because I thought she was gonna come for Casey again, but I'm glad she didn't because I'm like, that would have just been
I thought
like
she
too
was going to
much.
either.
Like let's just keep it moving. The drama
Yeah,
it is
I
what
was
it
like,
is.
Casey will get what he needs, what he deserves, whatever, when the time comes. Like that's where I was at when this episode premiered. But anyway, uh, Kenzie basically said this guy's a liar and pied Corbin. Like we didn't know. I was like, who else? Who
Right.
else? It was not going to be Caleb, so who else?
Right. And the thing about Kenzie is like feel like once you do her dirty in her eyes, she's gonna consistently come for you. That's what I've noticed. Like she
Oh
did it
yeah.
with Zach.
She's a grudge holder.
She's a grudge holder. Corbin is now her new target. I bet Zach is like finally the so much else she can hate.
Zach doesn't care. Zach's like, listen, that girl, like she has no room to hold grudges either, in my opinion. But
She, we'll get into her.
we'll get
She,
there.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
She.
I'm telling you, this week my opinions fluctuated so much. I'm like, my goodness. Then TT went next, and she said he's cool, people, but toxic, and kind of two faced, sincere. You know what? Good
That
on
was
her.
valid.
Because I
That
was
was
like, you
so
know what?
valid.
Somebody had to do it. That man was getting away too long in that challenge for me. So thank you, TT. Um,
Yeah.
like no shade. I mean, I know Corbin deserved pies or whatever, but I was just like, where is sincere smoke? It's not enough for me right now. It's not enough
That's another problem I've had with some people, especially the girls, because I'm like,
this week.
honestly,
Yeah.
I love Melanie too, but I'm like, you didn't even have to watch movie night to know that Sincere is two-faced and he's playing a game with you. Like, I don't even feel like she needed to see that. It sucks that she had to watch it, but at the end of the day, he has shown her so much to the point where I'm just confused. Like, I was confused why she picked him in the recoupling. Like, I get if you like him and you don't feel a strong connection with Corey, but at the end of the day, your relationship should not be this hard within a month. It really shouldn't.
Ever.
Like it should. It's been a month, and y'all have had literally a plethora of problems since day two. It's just too much. And I
Meanwhile,
think
right after this, oh, sorry. Go, 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 go.
I was just gonna say, I think deep in her heart she knows this, but she just likes him so much. But yeah,
See, this is the thing. Actually, we'll get there because I just feel like the end of the week said everything I needed to say. But after that, Sincere said he basically admitted that he doesn't tell the truth.
he said, "I tell the
Like
truth, but
half the
not the
truth.
whole truth."
I was like,
How hard is it
yes,
just
you
to
did.
right? Because how hard is it just to be honest? Like
For him,
it's
it's
it
literally
would be
impossible.
it would be so much easier if he just told the whole truth. It would just be so much easier. It really would.
Anyway, Melanie went next, and she said, um, watching the girls feel less than because of their mouths. She did Corbett and Casey. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Anaya. I was just like, she hates his guts. She felt disrespected and decided to pie Casey. And Corbin is a good friend for telling Casey to just kind of take it because at this point, there's just no. At this point,
Yeah.
though, at this point, I was just a little. I'm still a little confused as to like where Anaya felt like totally like disrespected, but just a little bit. Like not at movie night, but just in this time frame, I'm just a little bit like I'm trying to follow. I do get it. I think that the public kind of validated her because we've already seen the disrespect, but like coming from her perspective, I just had a hard time.
I think it's
Um,
what it's mainly coming from is I think it's the way he responded to the girls coming at him, recoupling. Not I
mhm.
mean, I don't know how I would respond in that situation. So I can't fully say like how him and Tierra responded. Because again, there were a lot of people coming at him. I can't say that I wouldn't do anything differently. Like I probably would have been defensive as well. So
Yeah, that
yeah,
whole situation was so complicated,
that
like that I think that's why I'm just having a hard time like in this moment of the episode of trying to figure out like where everybody's at in their heads because it's like I don't really know either how I would have reacted.
continuously Anaya is backing the wrong point. Like the point that's literally
Literally.
in my mind, that's not the point. The point is I think she like you said was embarrassed. And I think
Yeah.
where she feels disrespected is that she probably expected a conversation to be had at this point between her and Casey because they had spent so much time together. And that's just how I'm trying to rationalize it because I don't know, like it's kind of hard because like
I'm
as I
doing my
thought about it
best. I
more,
really am.
right, as I thought about it more, I was like, well, I don't know, like you didn't know anything that he had said at that point. like hate to
Yeah.
back Casey like this because he has done a lot of things, but I feel like at that point he was kind of just responding
I'm not
to
gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just giving everyone a heads up that's listening. There was a lot of moments in this week that I had to kind of split my backings for various reasons um, between Casey and Anaya. There was valid points made on both ends that I feel like the public naturally votes for the girl or naturally kind of just sways that way. Again, fair enough. We're looking at our audience, right? But it's like just because the audience thinks one way doesn't mean everyone has to always follow. And that's what I took. That's kind of what I learned about myself and just in watching this show. Sometimes you just have to be objective and you have to look at the whole picture. Like, and you don't always know how you would respond. Of course, Love Island is a very specific, you know, setting. It's not what everybody experiences, and that's kind of the whole point of the show. You know what I mean? So objectively and in context with everything, there was moments this week where I felt like both of them needed backing for different reasons. And I'm just giving that heads up because I just don't want it to come out of the show. But anyways, um, anyway, the girls won.
yeah.
Um,
I
and
don't even I don't understand why there was points given for that round, but that because
right,
that wasn't even like a competition thing, but
right.
it's
And
Megan the
then
Stallion. She can do what she wants.
she can do what she wants.
Yeah.
And the head boy and head girls for the cake eating were Kenzie and Zach were chosen. The boys
I was
went
confused
Zach.
about that as well, but that's neither
Girl,
here nor
yes.
there. Because Zach is like being unbiased, because we all know how I feel about him. He did nothing during that challenge. Like, yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot
not
he
gonna
was
lie. Like
there.
what?
No, no shade. I forgot he was there, so I was a little confused.
Zach became a little bit like lost in the sauce this week. Like he because there's so many people in the villa at this point that like he was kind of just floating, you know?
Yes, because he, at the end of the day, the things that he has said and done has been a problem, but he hasn't been the biggest problem. So that's why he's been
No,
forgotten.
unfortunately not. But woohoo! Anyway, Um, so Carl and Amora, they came back in the challenge. I actually really loved how they came back. I probably rewatched it a couple times, but anyways,
No,
I just
that
thought it
was
was fun.
fun.
Like it was
The
cute,
way
you
they
know?
popped out of that cake, that was so
Yeah,
fun.
it was
And like
cute.
and the
I
way
liked
that
it.
everyone was so excited for them. And
Yeah,
mind you, half of the people don't even like really know them like that. It was just
and they were
cute.
like, "Woo!"
Yeah, it
Yeah,
just shows like they're a real family at the end of the day. Like
yeah.
you know
It's
what?
never
This
that
week
serious.
that's what I'm saying. This week kind of like opened my heart a little bit because I had written a lot of people off. Not even kidding, no shade. I had written so many people off after this week, but this week kind of like made me reevaluate my feelings towards certain people. And at the end of the day, they're all human. Like we
Yeah,
all make mistakes. No one
I
is
think this
perfect.
week was the perfect def the perfect word for this week is humanization. I really feel like a lot of viewers, and I think that's my point. When you watch things objectively and you don't really have like anything to stand on or like a stand group or a stand couple, a stand person, whatever. When you look at the whole picture between the guys and the girls, there have been mistakes made on both sides, and then you're reminded how like human everyone really is. Like there's certain situations that are complicated in the real world, so why would they be any less complicated in there? Like when you're
If
actually seeing
anything,
everybody.
things are more complicated because in the real world, you wouldn't owe half of these people any
Your attention.
conversations,
Yeah,
right? Like you can just go about your life and pretend like nothing even happened. So I don't know.
exactly. But Anaya was so happy, and I was happy for her. Sincere was looking really scared though.
I mean, at
He
this
looked
point,
like,
there's nothing to be scared about because I mean, we knew movie night was coming. I don't know if they knew movie night was coming, but like everything was gonna get aired out regardless. So
right.
he was gonna have to face the music one way or the other.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, the next episode that Carl and Amora, they are there now. They're on the island. And, the girls, everyone was so nice to each of them. The boys and the girls, everyone was really nice. Um,
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like the conversations at this point, um, I know there were people that were kind of talking about like Casey being happy for like Carl being there and stuff. To be honest, like I don't understand why he wouldn't be. I don't because
Yeah.
at this point, like I don't understand. Like I don't understand why he wouldn't be. Like at this point, everyone knows that Carl is back in there for Anaya. That's kind of why like I think Kata or somebody hugged Anaya when Carl like appeared. So eh, I don't know.
I mean, I
But
think I feel like sorry guys, I don't know what's going on with my voice today. I feel like I sound like a smoker. Anyways, I feel like Casey was relieved to a certain extent because I feel
yeah,
like he doesn't have so much pressure put on him to like worry about what Anaya is doing at this point. I think to a certain
yeah,
extent, I think he did feel a little bit bad that she was standing there by herself. I do think that. But and I feel like that's probably why he was relieved. Like now she has someone to focus on. Like she doesn't have to worry about me as much and what I'm
yeah.
doing.
Literally, like, well, also you have to think about it. Because I think prior to Carl coming in, if I'm not mistaken, when Corbin and Casey and Sincere, when they were talking about Carl and Corbin got the tea and he was like, oh, like she was exploring with Carl and this and that. And he was just kind of like, okay, yeah, like, okay. Like,
Yeah, and
I
I
think
think we all can agree that she should have brought him back.
Ron,
Like to
right.
this day,
So
I still don't understand that decision. I'm sorry.
me
I get the
neither.
whole 3 week thing, but if everyone and their mama is telling you that he's gonna bring someone back, you should bring Carl back.
Just for the heck
Everyone
of it.
told you
You
that
can
just for
still
the heck of
explore
it.
KC. Like I think that's the problem. Like
Right.
everyone can still explore everyone if you think and move for yourself. Like
Yeah.
I don't
And
know what's going on this year.
one thing we can say about Sincere is that he does exactly that. He thinks and moves for himself. Totally
Very
disrespectfully,
selfish in his thinking.
very selfishly, but at the end of the
It's
day,
benefit him and harmed him.
and Kenzie are the same way. Like
Yeah.
exactly, like they're
They
two
move for
sides of
them. That's it.
them, and that's it. So like
Right.
it's like, can you are you gonna be a sincere Kenzie, or are you gonna be like someone like Anaya who's like, or Casey even like, y'all are so scared to explore, like just do it.
I
You're
know.
on Love Island. Y'all are not boyfriend and
Literally.
girlfriend, but neither here nor
Literally.
there.
Sincere said that he was going to be more cautious if him and Amora cross paths and like won't be as reckless. And Dylan said that Anaya should cook Carl breakfast and try to win him back and that kind of thing.
Like
Um,
Dylan, slow your roll. Why
yeah,
would
but also
Anaya cook Carl breakfast?
from a friend perspective, because he's so close to Carl, I didn't expect him to say anything different.
I don't care. I'm like, why are you
Yeah,
saying this?
whatever.
And
Yeah, it's
that's
like
I
whatever.
forgot about that, and then you said it, and I was like, wait, why would you
I
say that?
know. Um, And then Amora talks about Casey, Zach, and Sincere. Kata was annoyed from what Amora said about Zach. To be honest, I was a little confused. I didn't really understand why she was so like in her
She
feels
was
about it.
upset because the way Amora phrased it, she was kind of saying like, yes, Zach was good, but he wasn't all the way. He didn't behave all the way. Like he was like two
I
steps
feel like
down
she
from
was talking more
KC.
about Casey and Sincere.
No, but she phrased it in a certain way, like, why even bring up Zach at all if he behaved? You know, that's how I took it.
Yeah, fair
Like
point. Yeah,
From Kata's perspective, I think the way Amora phrased it, like if he was doing everything that he said he was doing and behaving and all this, that, and the third, then why even bring him up? Like it like why are we she's like, Zach wasn't as bad as KC. Why are we talking about Zach? Like where did he did she ask about him? Like I don't even remember how that got brought up.
to be honest, I'm just gonna say this in general. When it comes to Kata getting upset, I literally couldn't care. Like because she never, her behavior never changes. Like I know we got so much smoke for Melanie and Sincere, but Kata is literally no different. So
It's just
Zach just doesn't do as much. Like with
Yeah,
other women, but it's the same acceptance of like bad behavior. Because Kata barely says anything. Like she'll say something always, but she forgives him in a heartbeat. So it's not.
right.
I'm never really like moved by Kata getting upset. No shade.
Exactly. Their fights are actually pointless at this point. And like I think and Zach knows they are too, because every time she gets upset, he's like, bro, I knew this would happen. And then he sweet talks her and then they're back to being fine. It's
Yeah,
just
like
like
after
it's
the
whatever.
hideaway, Kata just gave like, all right, I'm gonna
That
accept whatever.
that's exactly the problem. That is exactly why they should not have been in the hideaway that soon and they shouldn't have been intimate that soon. But you know what?
Here we
They
are, and now
live
we're
their
dealing.
life.
Now we're
It's
dealing with
not,
this.
yeah, it's their
And
life, not mine. I don't care.
right, it's fine. And then TT and Amora chat basically about Sincere, and they're just like Melanie doesn't know everything that Sincere did. I don't think it was a matter of Melanie not knowing everything that Sincere did. I think it was a matter of she's gonna accept without really knowing what happened between like him and Amora. Regardless of if Sincere explored or not, I think that she would have taken Sincere back. So I think
Agree.
like it didn't matter who the girl was. It was just a matter of like what how far he went in the exploration. So again, these conversations, I'm just like whatever. Um, and then I wrote down that Casey said like there's a lot of explaining to do. I don't remember who he was talking about though. Oh,
Um,
I think about Sincere probably
I
as
mean,
far as like whatever he had to tell Melanie.
same stuff, different day.
You know what I
At this
mean?
point, that's what it was
Um,
giving with
and
this
then the
episode.
right, and then the Carlin and I conversation. She said that it's a blessing that he's back. They need to stop with this blessing word because they all say it, and I'm annoyed. Home, blessing, exploring, like please
In
let it
general,
rest.
for her, it is a blessing that he's back because, like we
It
said,
was,
he
but man,
she would have been single, probably dumped. So yeah, for her, it is a
and
blessing that Carl was brought back into the villa.
and he said that he wants to keep exploring their connection, and I is excited about this, and yeah, um,
His
Carl said that he's
walls,
gonna need a minute, like his walls are a little bit up, but he'll get there,
right? That lasted for about 2 seconds. Like he
whatever.
was just
Yeah,
talking. He was just trying to like seem like not like a bird at that point and be like,
I
"I'm not
know.
coming back for you." But no,
I know, but
we saw
please.
right through that.
It took a
That's
second
the
for him
only
to.
reason that you're here, Carl. Like, don't forget.
Yeah, I was like, honey,
Like, don't
I was like,
forget.
let's not forget. Then Corbin and Casey had a convo. Casey says that Carl took the pressure off. Corbin asks if Casey's done with Anaya, and he says he's done with his connection with her, and he's excited about TT. Um, and you know, he thinks Carl will feel away. I don't remember how he phrased that, but I wrote that, so maybe that's how he meant it. I don't know. Um, listen, whenever I take these notes, y'all, it's like I'm
Right.
moving
There's so
quickly,
much going on
and I have to
at
remember
every
every
point.
conversation, and I'm like, woo.
Yeah, like
And then Sincere and Amora, we had a conversation. I said, you know, Amora kind of went off, and you know, she said that she's not a supporting character. Fair enough,
the
Queen. I'm
most
not either.
Amora way possible because she was so calm throughout that conversation
Oh
too.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
her
for
going
sure.
off was just like us having this conversation right now.
She's so blasé. Like Amora, I mess
Love
with her,
that. I love
but
that
she's so
because
blasé,
I aspire to be that level of I don't care, go with the flow,
unbothered.
like unbothered. Like I'm just here. It's
Like I
my
love that
summer.
for her.
I'm having a good time. If I make it, it's whatever. Like I aspire.
Honestly, I feel like that
Yeah,
would be me on Love Island, low key. I feel like Amora, I wrote this
yeah.
at the end of the week, but I'm just gonna say it now. I feel like Amora would have worked so much better as an OG. I think that she would have been very likable as an OG, but
Yeah,
even if she didn't last long,
no.
I just feel like she would have done differently audience wise. Because I think a lot of people actually did like Amora. It's just that in this point in the storyline, she just didn't really make sense.
I think the OGs were perfect for a reason because I like Amora, but I don't know if she necessarily has the personality that requires to be an OG. Because like
That's true.
she's so don't care.
Like
Like,
carefree. Yeah.
yeah, it's just like I don't think that would have worked necessarily in the beginning,
And
and I think she would have been gone sooner because of that
could have
carefree
been, yeah.
attitude.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Or even if she just came in as like a bombshell. I feel like Casa was just too short for her, but it's okay.
I mean, she
Um,
came back. We voted her back
that's
in.
true. That's true. That's
So it's
true.
like her time was good, like it is what
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
true.
You can't ask for much more at this point. Like
No, that's true. That is true because, Amora did her best in the circumstances. Um,
exactly.
but yeah, Sincere basically just had a whole lot of nothing. Like he called her big dog. I was like,
He he is not a real person. Someone on Twitter said they should lock him up and study his brain because how does he think the way he thinks? No, genuinely, because the fact not only it was like what 2 days ago he was telling her, "Oh, if we had more time, you would have been the one I chose," and now all of a sudden everything has switched and you're calling her a big
she was
dog
like,
and like
big dog.
right, like he's strange. He's just strange. That's all I can say. Literally
Very.
all I can say.
Anyways, then Gaul and Jen have a conversation. Gaul wants to pretty much get to know Kenzie. Like we
Whoop
didn't
de
know that.
doo.
Um, and I just wrote that Jen, he doesn't like you. Just,
I hate that for her, but I felt
I
that.
peeped it. I peeped it
I felt
early,
that.
so I was just like,
Yeah,
here
I
we
mean,
are.
I think in the beginning of Casa, I think they were cool, but as soon as Kenzie came into the picture, I was like, this is done. Because at the end of the day, if he really was all about Jen, Casa people will attach themselves to the one person they really like. They're not trying to get to know other people, like
They're trying to stay in
they're
that villa.
they're trying to stay in that villa. And Gaw, he didn't even try. He was like, if she picks me, she picks me. And then she ended up picking him for whatever reason. And I'm like, Jen, like, I hate
Bad
this for you.
decisions this season. Just so many bad decisions.
Right. I hate this for her, but at the same time, I could tell you how that was gonna go. Like
Yeah,
genuinely.
no shade, but babes, that Gaul was never the one.
Can I also
Um,
just say really quickly that this is
yeah.
a classic case of like going for your initial type and then kind of like putting someone who could be right for you to the wayside? Because we don't know how her and Ronnie would have worked, but like just going for someone that you're attracted to doesn't always work, especially if
Hmm.
they aren't giving the same energy back. Like you should go
Right.
after someone who's pursuing you.
Yes.
That's, yeah, that was my biggest takeaway from like Gall and Jen.
Yes, for sure. Um, and then Melanie and Sincere had a conversation. It was basically the hall pass conversation. You can tell Melanie this week in general, because this is gonna be a theme throughout the week for sure. That girl is drained. Like
Yeah,
she's tired. The life has been sucked out of that girl for sure, 1,000,000% full stop. Like she's she's emotionally numb and she can no longer like handle whatever Sincere is saying to her. She doesn't believe it. She's not something that she said during this time was like, and this is so true. And I hope that all the girls in the world heard this because she basically was just like, the prize is not being picked, the prize is being respected. And
yeah,
and I hope that like when the time comes, she does choose herself because and I wrote in my notes for her to take her own advice because to be
yeah,
honest, like these girls on this season, and I actually will follow up with this later on for when we get further into the week, but a lot of them think that being picked is the prize because when everyone that did come back single came back single, there was no smoke. And that right there told me that like these girls want to be chosen and there's nothing wrong with that. That is a complete normal reaction. I'm not dodging them or whatever for that. But at the same time, it's like there's more to it. There's more to the relationship than just being like picked. Um, there's more to the relationship than just liking somebody. Um, there's
yeah,
things that support the relationship that help build the trust, the understanding, the communication. All those things play a role, right? And you can't lack in one area and expect that person to feel secure with you. And that's where the being picked thing falls in, because you can still be picked and still be basically disrespected time and time and time again. And we've seen Sincere do that, right? But to this day, Melanie has not been respected, and she feels it. It's all in her face, it's all in her body language. I mean, the girl has been crying for 40 days and 40 nights, and that's not even an exaggeration because we've been watching this show for however long. So,
Yeah, every single week she has cried about something. And I honestly hate it for her because when she came
me
in,
too.
she was so full of life. She was so bubbly. Like she had such a fun and spirit with her. And now you can just see it. Like you said, her eyes, through her eyes, she's so tired. She's so sad because she really likes Sincere at the end of the day. And it's hard because, like, at one point, do you choose yourself? You know, like, I want
Yeah.
her, I think this is something that she needed to go through, honestly, because at the end of the day, hopefully she'll never let a man do this to her again. Like, sometimes we just have to go through these experiences to fully wake
Mm-hmm.
up and fully like gain more respect for ourselves and know what we deserve and what we don't deserve. And I think Melanie, by the end of the week, was like really starting to respect herself and like put herself first and be like, Sincere, all you say, all you do is talk. Like you, there's no action behind your words. And I love
Ever.
that for her because I
Yeah.
needed her to wake up. Like I love Melanie so much and I want her to be happy. And like this man has drained the entire life out of her. It's so sad to see. It really is.
And I actually do like Melanie as an individual. I just feel like, and I always have. I've always liked Melanie pretty much, but it's just like it gets to a point, you know what I mean? And one person can only handle so much emotional trauma, so much emotional distress. And she has gone through the ringer with Sincere. And I feel like Sincere sounds like he's gonna change every time he talks to her, but it's like the action behind it is where he's lacking severely. And
Barely.
that's where and action is where the evidence, it's evident where you're going to put somebody first and you're going to show them that, you know, they're worth it. You know what I mean? And Melanie doesn't feel secure. She does not. She hasn't the whole week. And we will see that theme definitely continue with her. But really felt bad for Melanie throughout the
I
whole
did
week.
as well.
I was like,
Bad
this
because
is
yeah.
sad. This is
And
really
I
sad.
know no last week I was like, well, this is the path she chose. But at the end of the day, she's still human. She obviously really likes him. And no, I at the end of the experience, she can start to just have a better experience in general. It doesn't, your experience does not have to revolve around Sincere. Like maybe this is just a learning thing for her. And
And honestly,
hopefully,
no,
sorry.
honestly, oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, like, to emphasize your point, I actually think that's a lot of these people's experiences. I think that a lot of these contestants, it's a personal journey. It's a personal realization for them to understand who they are currently right now as people and how they can grow and change and what decisions they can make differently. Because movie night definitely showed a lot anyway, but I think that like even for the girls, I know that a lot of people haven't really, you know, seeing the girls not be so like, I guess you could say pick me in a way, but that is also the nature of the show. Like you want to be the one chosen so you can get further, right?
Yeah.
It's not a secret that like at the end there is something to gain from this. And I think that the show has now realized with the growth and the of the audience and whatnot, I think that there's something to be said about if you stick to your guns and stick to who you are and your instincts, that is just as important as making it to the end. Because I think Melanie knows what to do. And I think that she's been pulled in so many different directions by her friends and her this and her that. And that also goes to show how those other girls also think about love and respect and human decency.
Yeah,
Um,
we have to get into that later because at the end of this week, I was questioning a
a
lot
lot of
of their
them.
opinions,
Yeah,
especially about the Melanie and Sincere situation. Because it seems
absolutely.
like after movie night unfolded, it seems like a lot of them are still pushing her to be with Sincere. And I'm like, after watching everything, why are we still Team
Why?
Sincere? Because it's not
Why?
even about staying in the villa at this point. They've made it the entire experience
They've
pretty
done it.
much. Yeah,
They've done
like
it.
we only have 1 week left. There is no point for her to continue this way.
Yeah.
Genuinely, there's no point. Just to stay in the villa, that's not enough for me personally. That's not enough at this point.
And to be quite honest, I feel like Melanie, um, I think that we'll definitely get more into it, but she deserves better all the way around. From her
Exactly.
friends, from that man. She just like that girl has been through so much. And I know Melanie with the public has fluctuated in opinion because we've all seen Melanie choose Sincere even after the soul situation and basically her be like, well, he can hop back in my bed even if he does da da da. We've all seen her do it. So I think we all are quick to judge because the show is also happening in real time, but Melanie is also a human and you only know what you know about that person. And it's different when there's basically a compilation video made specifically for you to see someone's behavior and be like, wow, like this is actually like a terrible situation. Like this is not worth it for me. Like, why am I crying every single week? This is not supposed to be the experience. Like everyone's in my ear about what I should do and shouldn't do and who I should forgive and this and that. And it's like, you know, we see at the like, when we get there, we'll see like and talk about how everyone's reactions have played into those emotions that she's feeling.
Yeah.
But anyway, um, Casey and I at this point they don't want each other. Kata is questioning Zach. Um, Zach and Bryce have a conversation basically saying that Bryce and Trinity are getting closer and he wants to make it official with her and they go on a date. I think you
Their
should talk about
boyfriend
the
and
date.
girlfriend. Oh, sorry.
I think
Jumping
you
the
should talk about the
gun.
date because these are
Yeah,
your people. So
I'm an OG Trinity truther. Everyone knows this. I've said it since day one of this
yeah,
podcast. But they went on a date. I'm not going to talk too much about the date because it was cute. They went on a boat. It was fun.
the
Asked
boat date's
Trinity.
classic.
Yeah, classic. But Bryce asked Trinity to be his girlfriend. I'm really happy about that. As an OG Trinity truther. And okay, just really quickly, for everyone being like, he's jumping the gun, like this is too fast. I feel like a lot of people are used to being in situationships, like talking for like 8 months, like not being official. But also, Bryce is the type of person where like he doesn't have really time to play games. Like he just turned 30. Like I don't think it matters. I mean, if Trinity is happy and she wants to be his girlfriend, then that's all that matters. I love them. I'm so happy that they got the first date. I think it was so cute, and it was a breath of fresh air from all the drama that ensued. And everyone in the villa was like genuinely so happy for them. Like when they told everyone the news, I was like, at the end of the day, this is a family. This is a family. Like that's when I start to realize like we cannot be more mad than the Islanders because if they're getting along and they're happy and they love each other, like
Right.
that's all. That's
It's their
literally all.
experience.
It's their
Yeah.
experience. They love each other at the end of the day. They're all friends. They all care about one another. They've lived with each other every single day for a past month now. Like
Yeah.
we don't know what
I'll
goes
say
on.
I'll say this about the Brinity date. It was cute. They always do like the boat thing, so I was very much expecting like a boat to be pulled out this season. Um, yeah, they seem to be very compatible. I kind of saw, based on the conversation with like Bryce and Zach, I saw like the girlfriend thing coming. I think they'll probably say "I love you" at the end, but that's just me based on how this show normally moves. That's probably what will
Yeah,
happen.
it'll be
Um,
their final date.
yeah, something like that. Um, yeah, I don't again, I do support Trinity, so this is not a dig. I do think the age gap has me a little bit like, oh my God. But
To
on
be
the
fair, all of
contrary,
them have an age gap. Almost every
and
single
I don't
couple.
to be fair, and to be fair to them, like I'm about to say, I feel like I don't really support most of those age gaps, but it's all good. Um, and like she said, if Trinity's happy, you know, who am I to judge? You know what I mean? Like, again, we can only be as upset as the Islanders, so. But good
Exactly.
day. It was a breath of fresh air for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, so Kinsey and Kata have a conversation. Kata is really looking out for Kinsey with wanting her to go for Dylan. Um, Personally, I think Kinsey and Dylan are a better match than Kinsey and Gall at this point. Um,
Agree. I think Kenzie genuinely, it's just hard for her to have one option. Like, I think in her mind, her like really taking advantage of the full experiences is like exploring everyone that she possibly can, that like even an inkling of interest shows up. She's like, I gotta see this through. Which I don't know how I feel about that because I'm like, at the end of the day, I feel like she knows like what she wants. I think
I know.
it's just, I don't know. She confuses me.
I know. Kenzie is just I feel like Kenzie, it's interesting because I feel like she knows what she wants, but she doesn't. Because I feel like it changes like every. It's hard to tell with her. I do
Yeah,
think that Dylan is the best suited for her, though. Out of all her options at this point, I feel like he's the best suited out of what's there because I also feel like everyone else that she's gone through is really over her. So,
as far as her best option, I think Caleb was her best option, and I think she blew
me
that.
too, me too. But I'm saying I think he's past that now. So I just feel like,
No, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying in general, I think
yes,
Caleb
you're
was her
right.
best choice,
Me
but she
too.
blew that. So
Yeah.
that's
Well,
done.
Kenzie,
Right.
let's you have to deal with Dylan now, which I don't even dislike Dylan like that, but
He's a bit
um,
dramatic. Like, no, no shit.
girl, don't even get me into it, please.
The way he was crying about Casey kissing Gaul, I was
I'm
like,
not gonna
okay,
lie, I did feel like a little bit bad. I didn't think it was gonna escalate because you
I
know how
did
I
it.
feel. I don't like the crying, but I was just like, whoa, whoa.
I was just, I don't think I felt it. I'm like, okay, this is a little bit much for the amount of time that you've known her. I
It
just
was like her face
don't,
was so funny. Like she was just like, oh,
no, I
they're
was
there.
confused too. I was confused
Yeah,
too. I'm like, why are you crying right now? Like, I'm not even trying to sound heartless. I was just confused. I was really
girl, we
confused.
were all confused. I was like, honey, it's only been a couple of days.
That's why I was like, he's a bit dramatic, but someone's
I
got to bring
digress.
it. Yeah.
Right. Um, and then Mel and Amora they talk about Amora and Sincere's like connection being a blip, and that she was interested in Caleb. Um, yeah, I feel like Amora told Melanie everything that she could have. Um, and I also just feel like I feel like she said all she could say to Melanie at that point. And I don't feel like Amora has like done anything really wrong by Melanie. Like I think everyone just kind of feels like it's like talking to a wall sometimes with Melanie. So they kind of they give her the advice, but I think everyone thinks in there that she's not going to change. So you know, it is what it is.
Because at this point, Melanie doesn't really have any other option in there. So, like, her
True.
other alternative would be just to go home, which I don't know if she's quite ready to go home yet. And I don't know if anyone else in there is quite ready to, like, let her go. That
It's
makes sense.
up to the public, guys. It is up to the public.
At this
Um,
point, I don't know what's ready to let her
no, I don't think so either. But it's kind of weird because when I think of sorry, this is so like random, but when I think of each individual fan base, I'm like, wait, where are like fans for like the Kata and Zach fans or like the Melanie and like because I don't really see the fans. I just see people liking somebody and then it's like, whatever. But I don't know, it's just weird. Like I don't individually see a lot of the Islanders fans. I'm not just talking about Melanie and Sincere, but just in general, I don't know where they're coming.
Well, it's kind of back Melanie and Sincere at this point. It's really, if you're backing them as a couple, I don't really see where you're coming from. Like, that's no shade. I'm just confused because they're clearly not right for each other in any sense of the word. Because,
Yeah,
again, like I've said, a relationship that has lasted for 1 month, it should not be this hard. Like they should be in the honeymoon phase right now, and it's not giving that.
At
It's not
all.
giving that at all.
Literally at all. I'm like, okay, what? Um,
Right.
but anyway, Corbin and Parmita, um, Corbin uh plans to apologize to Kenzie. Um, I can't remember what they were talking about. Oh, I do.
Him
They were
and
kind
her.
yeah, they were talking about closing off or something. That's what it was. And he was like, "Oh my God, are we really having this chat?" He had me. I'm not gonna lie. Corbin and Parmita are just like so funny to me. Like, forget the connection. The duo of them is just hilarious. I don't know how to describe it, but every time they come up on my screen, I kind of expect to laugh.
Okay. Carmen and Parmita, what do I have to say? They throw me for a loop because the fact that they're deciding to close off. I mean, at this point, it makes sense because no one else is
Sense.
coming
Like,
in and
I
they're
ain't
not
mad
going to
at
talk
him,
to
but
anyone else. It's just a little like, this is how we choose to do it. But, to
I mean,
each their
Corbin
own.
didn't even see that coming. He was just like, "Wow, like, all
He
right."
even agreed to close off, no shade. But I think Corbin has done a little bit too much where he's like, okay, it's time for me to like actually
Corbin
lock
is
in.
smart. He's smart. He knows where the chips are at right now, and he's just like, why not?
That's
Because
what I'm
let's
saying.
I don't think he'll see interest in anyone further than Parmita anyway. If I'm honest, I don't think at this point he would leave her. So
Think they're lasting though. I'm gonna be honest. I
oh, I
think
don't think
they're
so
two
either. I'm just saying in the
completely
villa.
right. Because like there's a lot of age gaps this season, them being one. But the problem with them is like he is not at the same maturity level because men mature slower than women. And he's a 22-year-old boy who just graduated college and lives in Miami. And the entirety of like the USA thought he was super attractive coming in. So like he's gonna have attention when he leaves. And I just don't see like Parmita sticking around. Yeah, I just think he's a 22-year-old boy. He lives in
Like the
Miami.
maturity and the age gap. Yeah,
Yeah, he lives in Miami. He's a 22-year-old boy. He has a lot of attention coming out. He just graduated college. Like, even with all the age gap couples, like, I don't even know if it's gonna work. Like, even with Trinity and Bryce, because she's 22, he's 30, they're in completely different areas of life. Like, hopefully they can make it work.
they're
But
not. They're not. That's actually why they're working because they're really not. Bryce is Bryce is kind of broke because of his job, like because of the modeling and all that. Like he doesn't make that much money. That's kind of why with them it works a little bit better because I think Bryce has like respected Trinity and all that throughout the experience anyway. So I think that has obviously helped them and like what they have in common. That all that's helped. But I'm just saying like if we're talking about it in terms of age, Bryce really isn't at like too much of a different point than a 22-year-old would be at. So
okay,
it's kind
not
of
too much on Bryce because
listen.
Bryce is a
I'm not
DJ,
judging.
he's
I'm
a
saying that's why it's
model.
working. I feel like that's part of the reason
No,
though. Like
no, there's so many sneak disses on Bryce. I'm not taking it. He has things going for himself. If we're talking
he
about who,
will when they leave, he will. But I'm saying like as of right now in this moment, like I'm saying the age gap relationships, and this is not to diss him. I'm just saying that like he's 30. Like 30-year-olds are not like they are typically at a different point in life. But I'm saying because of where he's at in this moment, I feel like that is part of the reason why it's working and why it doesn't seem so like immature on either end. That's all I'm saying. I don't think that they're like a terrible match or anything. I'm just saying, like, if we're going to talk about age, let's be for real. Like, if Parmita's at a different point at 27, technically Bryce should be at a different point at 30, just like Gall and everyone else. Like, just like Carl, like all those people that are like in the upper 20s. And I think
the
it's
thing is,
obvious.
it's different because she's a woman though. Like I feel like
No,
I
no, no,
think
but
she
so is
wants.
Anaya,
She's
and
gonna.
I don't even think Anaya is like mature enough to be with Carl. If I'm actually keeping it all the way a buck, I really don't. I think she needs someone older. Do I think 28? Not really, but I think it's working because they have things in common. Like it's the same. I don't think it's not a diss. It's just what it is.
No, I'm no. I'm just saying like I think Parmita. from what she's explained, Corbin is not going to be ready for what she
Oh no, not
wants.
at all. Not at
And
all.
that's the problem. That
Yeah,
is
not at
the
all.
exact difference between their age gap relationship and some of the other ones. They don't have, they have stuff in common, but they don't have enough in common for that to work. Like the whole
They
basis
don't
of
even
their
know what they have in
relationship,
common,
well,
honestly. We
that's what
don't,
I'd say. Their
yeah,
whole
like they don't
basis
talk
of
about
their
nothing.
relationship is them being hot and like working out. Like that's literally the whole basis of your
Girl, don't
relationship.
even get me started. That had me laughing last night. I was cracking up. They are funny to me. Like if nothing else, literally if nothing else, because I'm not even rooting for them as a couple, but like I need that. Like I need that sense of humor on the show.
Yeah.
Um
But anyways.
anyways, Corbin and Kinsey. Kinsey is mad that she wasted her time. Um she said Kayla was genuine, and she said Parmita said that she's just hurt and she doesn't think that Corbin is only talking to her because she's cute. Uh, listen, I
Parmita,
said,
and you know what? Parmita will say anything to back her connection with Corbin because at the end of the day, let's be honest, I feel like that's probably not the only reason, but it is a big reason. And he said that to her face. He's like, "You're just like me. You're like almost perfect. You're so beautiful." Like, there's nothing he can say about your personality right now
not at
because y'all don't
all.
talk. Y'all
Those
do not
speeches
talk.
were, I know we'll get there, but the speeches, some of them I
Mhm.
was just like, oh dear. And theirs was one.
You can
Um,
tell who's not talking in their relationship and who is.
and
I'll
who
leave it at
is,
that. Leave it at
right.
that.
Anyway, Parmita tells the girls that her and Corbin are closed off. And Jen is like, you're delusional.
Like the fact that there was no
Oh my God.
reaction, like
Yeah, they
that
were all
just
like,
tells you
oh, all
everything.
right. She said, I just feel like something about like, it's just meant to be or whatever. I was like, Parmita, girl. But anyway, the boys, everyone is excited about Bryce and Trinity because they come back from the boat day, and the boys are talking to Bryce, the girls are talking to the to Trinity, and they were both super excited. Everyone was excited for them. I felt like the energy was high for at least like 5 seconds in the villa because my goodness, there's so much drama all the time. I'm just like, whoa, this was like a nice little, like just like woo-saw from all of the drama for like 5 seconds, you know? But I was happy for them. And I felt like they kind of needed to have something for themselves because I feel like they're not showing Bryce and Trinity as often because they're just not having like the most drama, which isn't a bad thing. I just feel like that's a production thing. So it was good that they sent them on the date and whatnot. Um, and yeah, I'm happy everyone was happy for them. Any thoughts?
No, I said pretty much all I had to say about the date. I thought it was cute. I do love them as a couple. I do think that they complement each other very well. And I think there's a good balance. They tell each other pretty much everything. And a lot of people were upset because we're getting into movie night. A lot of people were upset that they didn't have any clips. And I'm like, there's really nothing to show because they tell each other everything and they really haven't done anything that hasn't been exposed. So
I will say I was also part of that group, but not in the same way. I was a little bit like anyway,
I just
we'll get
don't.
there.
My thing is, there's nothing to show. Like, what would have been shown? Honestly,
Honestly, my only thing was, and I'm only bringing this up because I feel like it's just been brought up so much, and I feel like it's still current because Trinity keeps making it current. I feel like they could have at least shown the conversation between Casey, Bryce, and Trey, like that whole interaction. I'm only saying that because Trinity keeps making it relevant. So I just think that like that could have been the only thing that was shown. Other than that, I agree. I don't feel like there was much that could have been shown. Now, Zach, yes, that pissed me off. I'm gonna be very honest. I feel like he got away like with a lot. So anyway, that that I don't think that has anything to do with Bryce and Trinity, but I'm just saying that like there were people that kind of got away with stuff. The only person or people to me that hadn't really done anything at that point were Caleb, Dylan, and Carl. But and Gall maybe, but other than that, I feel like everyone else that's an OG should have been in the movie night, and I'm just leaving it there. Um,
I don't know if I agree because I think if they showed that conversation, it would have been pointless. To be fair, like I think that conversation was pointless. to be shown
I do
because
too.
it's
I do
already been
too, but
said.
I do too, but I just think like as far as the relevancy of it like coming up even weeks later, because that didn't happen recently. So that's why I'm kind of just like whatever. It's fine. It didn't happen, so it's fine. But I just think that it should have. Kenzie and Dylan. So I feel like they're actually cute. Like I think this is when Dylan did the date or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it was cute. Like he actually put in effort and he's done less than everyone else and he's been there for less amount of time than everyone else. And I was like, you know what? Good on him. Um Jen and Gall feels guilty and pressure um about physical touch and stuff. That's kind of when I knew it wasn't gonna
Yeah, I agree. I feel like you shouldn't have to force yourself to want
be
to,
anyway
yeah.
with somebody.
I
Yeah.
mean, the thing is, like, he's saying that their love languages are different in that regard. I really don't think they're that much different. I just don't think he likes her, and I think he was
Right.
putting on some kind of persona just to make her feel better about picking him, I guess. I don't know what was going through his head, but I don't really think that him and Jen are that different. I just think that he didn't like her. And that's all there is to it, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that because I was like, I just don't think Gaul is that interested. And that's okay. And I think that they're just incompatible maybe in that way. And that's fine. Um, it's the theme of the show this season is just incompatibility left and right. So, it's all good.
Yeah,
Join the club.
honestly.
Um, and then Anaya and Casey, they have their chat. Lord, I wrote like too many notes for this, but
I
um,
feel like once again, they didn't really get anywhere in that
yeah,
conversation. That's been the theme for their entire season. Like
yeah,
both of them not being able to hear each other out and then also see like the part that they played in the relationship coming to an end. Like I said, neither of them fully not at fault. Like they both played some part in the relationship being as tumultuous as it was, regardless of what
I agree.
Casey said. I think Anaya did at times blow things out of proportion a little bit. I think she allowed other people to get too involved in their relationship. And then when it
Right.
came down to it, like there I don't really know if she fully gave Casey a chance to explain himself. That doesn't like
She didn't.
it
She
doesn't
did.
excuse him like holding this resentment for her and saying all the
Not
things
at
he
all.
said. But like again, she also played a part in that as well. So it's just like neither of them are
I
completely
have a hot
perfect and
take.
did everything right. Go ahead.
I don't really know if it's a hot take actually, but I'm just gonna say it is. Um, I feel like she went into the conversation already upset because of how Kinsey came out of hers with Corbin. Because there was a moment when Kinsey went and played ping pong with Anaya, and she was like, "Oh, how the convo went?" And she was like, "Oh, I basically just like said my piece, and like I just feel like he's not good and all this stuff, right?" And
Hmm.
she said a few choice words, but obviously I'm not going to say them. But yeah, she basically just doesn't mess with him. And I feel like Anaya like took that energy and went into the conversation with Casey with that energy, like which I also think was a little bit unfair. And to your point, I feel like that didn't allow for open communication. Anaya and Casey both have communication problems, and as someone who has rooted for Anaya the whole show, I think that Anaya has a lot of personal things um, that have been shown to me throughout the week, but especially in this moment. Sometimes I do think that Anaya just kind of follows, and I think that she doesn't always think for herself. But I also think that when she does, everyone thinks she's incapable of doing so. So it's kind of a double edged sword that way. But when it comes to them just on their own, I think sometimes it's just kind of like, well, think about how I feel. But if you're going to be in any relationship, both feelings have to matter to some level in order for y'all to get any kind of clarity as to why things happened. Like, I think both of them have been kind of in this rut in these conversations, and that's why they're so repetitive. To be honest, at this point, I remember being just kind of annoyed that they keep talking because I was like, goodness, let it go. But
Yeah,
I mean, at that point, I was just a little bit frustrated with it because I was like, unless there's open communication, meaning both people are allowed to talk, I don't even want to hear it. I'm not even interested. I don't feel like we're gonna get anywhere. And if y'all aren't interested in each other, what is the point? Um,
yeah,
you know,
I agree. And I feel like at the end, when Anaya was saying, like, she doesn't feel like she should be around Casey, I was agreeing. Like, I don't think y'all are ever going to see eye to
me
eye.
too.
I think
Yeah,
y'all don't need to be friends. I think both people have done things wrong in the situation. And that's that. Like, we can agree to
yeah,
disagree. Like, that would be me. Like, I'm going on about my life.
period. As they
Exactly. Like,
should. Like, I think that
exactly.
both of them, yeah, I really, this week, I really was like more, I'm not saying over her, I'm saying in general, more like Team Casey than I have been like since Casa because I think that there's a lot of things that are valid on both ends. And with the public votes and public perception and stuff like that, perspective is everything. And I know a lot of people typically sway to the girl side, rightfully so. Typically, I know the girls are right in a lot of situations,
All
but
right.
you're good. But it's like there is another like the relationship can only grow if both people are heard, understood, seen, etc. And communication is very important. And I feel like with them, they've typically been at an imbalance in that. And right after that, because this goes straight into movie night, the main event, what we've all been waiting for, specifically me, because I think movie night is just, I just think it's great no matter what. Like, no matter if you're in a good thing, a bad thing, I think it's a good way for everybody to see everybody's whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and for them to see themselves, they have to leave the show one way or another. And I think the more self reflection, the better. Um,
Yeah, that's the only reason why I would say season 7 should have gotten one. Only because there was a lot of things done and said,
mhm.
and a lot of them didn't think that they had done anything wrong. And it was a lot of hate coming out of the villa. So that's a lot of music that you have to face when you leave. Whereas
Yeah,
now, these people, like, they've seen their faults, they've seen what they've done, and you can own up to it in this setting rather than coming out, having to face all of the hate that is against you, trying to navigate that on
yeah,
top of like answering to your partner about everything that you did. Like, I don't
yeah.
know.
It's
I
a
think movie
lot.
night is necessary, like you said.
Yeah, and you know, as much as it is a painful watch typically because I know that in that setting I would feel very cringe because I would just be like this is just like a lot. Like I just feel like we're watching everybody's business. Because in real
Yeah,
life you wouldn't see you wouldn't see everybody's takes and perspectives and relationships and stuff like that like fully in their business like that. So
yeah,
I feel like I would feel a little bit uncomfortable. So I kind of understood why the room was uncomfortable. But anyway, to kick off, basically, Casey and TT had a chat. He said that he feels bad and, they just don't see eye to eye. And he said he has nothing against Anaya. And if I'm perfectly honest, um, I think that he has had things against Anaya, but I also think that when he speaks to her, it's not as targeted as when he was like away from her. Like I think the resentment, and we'll get there. Obviously they have a conversation again, but yeah. Actually, I'll just get there later. But he said that he just wants to with Anaya. And TT asked, if they're open to exploring. He was like, no, they're not. Um, and I said in my notes, I put that he seems a little bit numb from them talking all the time because I feels unheard. But you know, Carlin and I also had a conversation, and she said that her conversation with Casey was good, and that she was happy that there's closure. Um, and yeah, you know,
yeah.
um, you know what I mean? And then Jen says that her convo with Galt is going in circles. Um,
Which it was.
Dylan,
A lot of the conversations were going in circles this week.
yeah, I was tired this week. I was like, my goodness, just bring on movie night. And honestly, um, we can honestly just hop into that because
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of the first half of that episode was pointless.
yeah,
A
because
lot of
everyone was just talking
filler.
about all the same issues. Um,
Exactly.
so to movie night, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Going into it, I did take some notes. Like the guys did, like a lot of them were already like, "Oh, here we go." Like a lot of them. I was like,
Because
"Wow."
they, at this point, they knew, like subconsciously, they knew that they had done some things and said some things. And I think that was my point about Megan the Stallion calling them out. Like they needed to feel that going in because
Yeah,
up until that point, they didn't think they had done anything wrong, or like even if they did think it, they had like pushed it to the back of their mind, you know? So like
yeah. They were
going
like, "It's
in,
over now." Yeah,
exactly. Going in, now you have to actually explain yourself, stand on business, like own up to what you said, apologize, whatever. Like now, this is the
and
real.
TT apologized in advance for anything that she like could have said or would have said. TT obviously wasn't like super exposed as far as like things she was saying about the girls or anything,
Yeah.
but yeah, everyone went into it with like high stakes, you
See,
know.
when you do stuff like that, I'm already looking at you sideways. Because personally, if I was going into this movie night, I think I would be sitting pretty. Because, like, no shade, everything that I probably would say, I would definitely say to your face. Because that, like, that's just how I am. Like, if I
Well, to be
have an issue with
fair,
someone, I'm like, if I have an issue, I'm telling you straight up, like, no shade.
no, me too. But I feel like to be fair, at least in this situation, because she wasn't in front of the girls like at Casa or whatever. Like obviously she couldn't. Um,
I'm not
I
talking, I'm just saying, like, in general, like, Zach
oh
was
yeah,
saying a lot.
that would have me.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I would be like, that would make my eyes roll. Because I'm like, what are
yeah,
you apologizing for now? Like, we haven't even
right.
seen what has been said. Like, please, shut
Honestly,
up.
too, I think movie night is great, and I'm just saying this in general. I think movie night is great too. Because I forgot to mention this earlier. It saves a lot of the blow for when the Islanders come out because they already know what's been said. Like if anything bad, for the most part, they know everything that that person said about them because it's already been on the big screen. They've already witnessed it with them, lived it, yelled at them, did whatever they needed to do, right? So it kind of in a way like helps the public move on from that because we all witnessed the same thing at the same time instead of it being like, oh well, this person didn't see this convo or this person didn't see that. Like it saves kind of the blow for when they get out. So that's just another reason why I like movie night. But the first note that I took was Casey was definitely nervous. Like I've never seen like I mean, literally it's like something like came over him before they even got into it. And
I mean,
rightfully
honestly,
so.
he should have been. Like, there's no
Rightfully so, but
reason.
I was like, he's definitely the most nervous out of everyone that's there. Zach seemed pretty nervous too, but yeah, I was like, woo, this is about to be juicy.
I mean, he should have been nervous because at the end of the day, you said a lot of stuff that was not warranted. And
Yeah,
I think he knew that. And
yeah,
that's all I can say
yeah,
about that. Like, there
yeah.
was no reason why he should have been sitting pretty. You know who
Right,
was, though?
never.
You know who was? Sincere and honestly, Corbin. They didn't seem phased at all. I was like, okay, this is how we're starting things.
Corbin was okay. We'll get there. We'll get there. So, because I want to save my opinions for when it happens. So Zach and Alana, their movie was first. Kata cried, and they showed her reaction when the postcard was set in the movie. Zach apologized and he didn't really know what to say except he didn't bring back Alana. And
I
he
say something too.
go
Because
ahead.
like this was a point of contention for a lot of them. I really personally didn't feel like the explanations mattered. Like them trying to explain the clip because it's already been said and done. Like to me, I don't want to hear it. Like I don't care what you have to say right now. Like that's just
Yeah,
me. Like unless an
yeah.
apology is coming out of your mouth, I don't need to hear the explanation. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Because I feel like it
You
was
know,
a
I actually agree. I think that the show. kind of makes it like it's one of those things where it's like you want to know the explanation, but you don't want to know the explanation because like the public needs quote unquote needs to know the explanation, but it's not actually like needed. It,
It's not. They're
it's a difficult spot because I think that the public would want to hear, but then at the same time, it's like in real life, would you want to hear the explanation? And then um, it's also weird to just have none of them explain anything. I don't know. I think it's more of a movement of the show kind of thing, but I do get what you're saying because, like, at the
yeah.
end of the day, who cares? Like, everyone's already done everything.
Yeah. I mean, I'll
But yeah,
reiterate this point as we move on because I feel like it was a point of contention for some of the clips that were shown and the
yeah,
explanations that followed.
yeah.
But anyways,
No, literally. And like I think that the explanation part of it, just for all of them, it's like a very difficult thing just because I think production also sort of wants them to kind of say something anyway. Um,
yeah.
so it's weird. It's such a weird thing, but I totally agree with you. In real life, I would be like, I don't really care.
If
Um,
there's not an apology coming from your mouth, like you can just
yeah,
save it.
whatever.
Like
Yeah.
just save it.
All right. Honestly, yeah, Zach, he basically was like, um, he looked at himself saying like, "What was that?" of him smiling or whatever. And I just put Zach's just a manipulative person. That's just my take on Zach in general. I don't think movie night would have made me think any differently. And yeah, I do want to get into like Casey's movie, but it's so long.
Right. Like usually they just play one single clip. They played a whole his movie
Everyone
was
had a
long.
compilation of
It
like
was a
a
compilation.
medley, yeah, a medley of some sort of
They built
like.
a whole case on these men. I was like, oh my gosh,
I
this
was
is
like, well,
so
at least
long.
nothing's left out. But
I
dang,
was just so uncomfortable watching it back to back to back to back to back to back. Like
he
it
was
was so
too.
uncomfortable.
He was too.
No, yeah.
Um, all right, let's get into it. So we left off with Casey's movie. They showed the Corbin and Casey interaction with the grandma comment. Um, they also showed obviously when he said Anaya is beautiful, but it's always serious. They showed when Casey said it's going good, but he's still open to Caleb. They also showed the fixing that they're fixing something that isn't broken comment. Um, like what he said about like her trauma or whatever. Um, and then the convo he had with Sincere, TT, and TT like the first night or whatever. Um, and then they also showed they didn't understand his powers comment. Sorry, it still makes me laugh. They showed him in Sydney. They showed Sincere saying he's different with TT. They showed him not being happy for Anaya and that he doesn't care. They showed that the thin line comment, he has more leeway comment. Um, and then his recoupling speech, TT, don't really know why they added that in, but whatever. And then my comments are basically like, I felt really bad rewatching that. That was a lot. Um, to witness again and then to watch everyone else witness, uh, yeah, Casey looked like he wanted to like throw himself off a bridge. Like genuinely, he looked like I mean, and that sounds very bad, but he looked like he hated himself um, because it just kept getting worse and worse. Um, Trinity and Kata's reactions. Um, Trinity said, it's just lust, and Jen said, Anaya wanted him, but he doesn't feel wanted by everyone else. Like it doesn't make sense. And then um, I was basically kind of getting like secondhand embarrassment just in general, but um, Anaya reacted to the Sincere and TT thing. She did not react to the grandma comment at all. Like she basically just laughed it off.
He
Um,
didn't react to a lot of things that I feel like
at all,
I don't
at
know.
all.
Like the fact that she was more mad about the sincere of it all and like him saying that PT is better suited for Casey. I do have something to say about that because like after his clip played and like the girls were basically asking the guys
Mhm.
like, are they shocked by this? Like, no, they wouldn't be shocked by it because they watched him get to know TT in that villa. And
Mhm.
also, it's hard to it's hard because naturally they're going to go based off of what their friend has said and told them and based on what they've seen in Casa. So,
Mhm.
no, I don't think it's a dig at Anaya for them to be like, naturally, TT is better suited. Because to be honest, TT is better
Is
suited for
better suited.
Casey. Like at this point, I don't think that was a dig at Anaya. I think she took it
Right.
that way. I do think that maybe they should have told her what he had said. But at that point, like only people who really knew like the full extent of what he said was really Corbin and
Hmm.
Casey himself. So like, and the only one that Anaya like seemed like super close to was Sincere. So Sincere should have defended her more in these situations. Yeah, sure, but at the same time, he wasn't there for most of the conversations. Like if you're
He
looking at,
wasn't.
yeah,
He
like,
wasn't. But I did remember I said last week, I said, even if that was my friend, like I would want you to defend behind my back because that seems to be how the girls operate.
yeah.
Um, I think that, okay, so some other things were said. Melanie thinks Casey just used Anaya, and Trinity thinks, he just wanted to sleep with her, all this stuff. Um, she explained like the coward comment, like Anaya, she explained it. And Corbin is asking the girls questions. And the girls are like clocking him. I'll go back. So yeah, so Anaya explained the coward comment, and Corbin's asking questions. The girls are clocking him. Meanwhile, like Kata is like thinking about Zach and Alana, which was funny. And then TT is also clocking the men too by saying, like stand on what you said. Like you did say that you've never seen Casey this happy, blah, blah, blah.
Can I
Um,
say something though? I feel like
and
that what
go ahead.
she said at that point to me, it really didn't matter because if you were listening to what the boys were saying, they were like, "No, we're not shocked that he picked TT, but it is like we didn't hear him say all of these things." That was the point that they were making. Like they didn't hear the
Mhm.
conversations of him because that's like let's if we're waking it up, that's really like what Anaya was mad about. She was mad about them like not, I guess, defending her, like telling her what he was thinking. But if you were listening to what Bryce and Zach and even like Caleb and all of them were saying, they were like, we didn't hear him say those things. But yes, we do agree that TT was better suited. Like that was the point. And I think
That
TT,
is
like
true.
bringing that up, it really didn't matter. And like, because at the end of the day, yes, she was better suited. That's not the point that was trying to be made. So, like, what she said, like, that to me was irrelevant. Because like that,
Yeah. But I
it
also
didn't.
feel like it was, I mean, to be honest, to me, it just made her look like she was kind of like with the girls. Cause I feel like the girls were also kind of like piping that up. But like the girls were also saying things that were kind of like giving the illusion that that's what the guys were saying. So I don't know. I feel like everyone's gotta this is how I feel about this cast. Everyone's gotta start staying out of people's business because yes, things get around in the villa, but that doesn't mean you need to like speak up on it. That's just me. That's like across the board. Um
No, I just think at this point, Niall was bringing them into it because that to me it was like what she was
oh
mostly
no,
mad
she
about.
was. She
She brought
was.
them
I
into
don't
it,
the
and I
anger
feel like,
shouldn't have been at them, really.
and she lets the problem with her. It's not even like them getting involved per se. It's the problem that she lets them get involved. Like that is the real issue. Like you're letting these people like talk to you and convince you of these things. You're letting them get
No, I
involved.
agree, and I'm sad that I agree because, like I said, I think Anaya is kind of a follower. But anyway, um, anyways, the conversation was starting to get heated because Casey said like, don't put anything on the guys. Like this is all my fault. Like I'm the one that said everything. And to be honest, I'm kind of happy that he said that. I feel like um, the girls like the anger was getting misplaced. Like I
I agree. That was the
like the
entire
anger was
point
getting.
was trying to make. Like that was the point I was making.
No,
Like
no, and
you're
I think
really
I think you're right.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, you can be mad all you want, but they really don't have anything to do with it because again, they weren't there for most of the conversations that were had. And two, like at the end of the day, they're closer with KC. So if they
Why
felt
wouldn't
like
they back Casey?
exactly like if they felt
Right.
like he had a better connection with TT, that's not a problem. It's really that's not the
That's not even a
problem.
dig for real. Like
It's not
again,
a
I think
dig.
I,
It's
I
really
think that this
not.
was I really think that with these girls, Anaya especially, it's about being chosen. And I'm actually gonna get more into that because with the sincere of everything, yeah. I clocked a
Think they
lot of
take a
things
lot
after
of
that.
things personally too that
They
shouldn't be
do.
taken personally.
So
Like,
real.
because if we're being honest, there has been a double standard this season as well. Because Anaya,
Hmm.
they were all saying that Carl was better suited for Anaya as well. So it's just
Yeah.
like, no,
Sorry. Bugs are like
no,
everywhere. Sorry.
it's okay, it's okay.
No, I
But we can
agree.
move
Like,
on.
yeah. But anyway, yeah. So the conversation got heated, and Casey, like, the guys were talking over the girls, like defending Casey, whatever, whatever. Casey stood up, and the whole world. I already knew everyone was going to be against him and the girls, and everyone was going to be like, sit down. Like, I already knew that was coming because that's how I felt about it. But I also understood exactly why. Um, and then obviously Anaya stood up after and like got in his face, all these things. Personally, um, just that way we could get to the next thing. I did not agree with um Anaya like getting in his face. Yes, Casey stood up first and all of that, but like Casey didn't even cross the threshold of the guys section and the girls section. He stood up because he felt unheard, and he was. The girls keep like they keep doing this with him, like they keep talking over him, and then Sincere and Zach and Bryce, everyone else can get their piece out except him. And to be honest, I don't agree with that because especially with Sincere, if you're gonna have smoke for Casey, you need to have the same smoke for Sincere. Sincere, there is no explanation for anything that he's done. Like the best he could say is sorry, and like we said earlier, move on. Like I don't think that it's right for those girls to corner Casey and then basically be like, "Well, you're not saying anything anyway." Okay, he may not be saying anything, but like that doesn't mean that you don't at least allow him the space. Like even if it was just sorry, fair enough. But I just feel like the girls like really thought they were it during that whole movie night and with their comments. And I'm like, honestly, this wouldn't bother me if I was in the guy's shoes. Like if I'm thinking like a guy, like some of the things that the girls were saying were completely invalid. Like some of them were just talking just to defend and they had nothing to back that up. Like, but I knew that everyone was probably going to side with Anaya anyway. So I kind of just let it go. But I will say that I did think that that was unfair. And I think that if Casey had gotten in her face, we would have a different issue and we would be talking about it in a different way, but he didn't. So I think that the following episode of them apologizing to each other was like the right way to do that. Because again, I don't think anyone wants anyone getting in anyone's face. So, period. That's just how I feel about that. Um, but Kata was funny, like kind of throwing herself into the mix with like her and Zach and stuff. But I was like, girl, you're literally gonna forgive Zach today. Like,
Think the problem with their situation is would I was saying like I it didn't sit right with me either that no one had told her that Alana had been removed because I feel like that's a key part in the situation,
it
right?
is,
Like if
yeah, it
she
is.
was
Even
if
production should have like said something about Alana being dumb, just in general.
exactly because at the end of the day that does play a part in the situation. Yes, he's saying that he wouldn't have brought her back anyway, which I do believe he wouldn't have brought her back anyway,
Me too.
but it also of like if she was there, would you have done more? We don't know.
Right.
And I think that plays a part in the situation. And I can see why
Hmm.
Kato was upset that he left that out because at the end of the day,
Oh no, yeah, for sure.
yeah, it didn't take much for you to kiss her on day one. It didn't, you were still kissing her when she was in there and you were
We
saying
did
you
see
missed
that.
Kata, but you were
Hmm.
still kissing her. So would you have done more if Alana wasn't removed? That's the whole point. But
Right. Um, and then I think Amora and TT said like Zach didn't do anything in bed with her or anything. Like there was none of that going on. Um, which was also fine because I feel like if Alana was going to be brought up at all, they might as well at least tell what they saw of it. Because if we're gonna say Zach and Bryce and Caleb and everybody didn't know certain things. I'm sure they didn't either, even in Casa. So I think that that was fair. And yeah, they showed the girls. The next movie they showed was the girls talking to Anaya and basically saying, you know, Casey's playing with Anaya's feelings and that Anaya wants to explore. And all the guys are mad at Anaya at this point for basically saying the same thing. I was like, listen, this movie night was hard because I really had a hard. I was like, the double standards are double standarding so bad that like I don't even know what to do. Like as a supporter of a lot of these girls, and I wouldn't say I'm like the core four thing. I'm kind of just like whatever, but certain things I was like, they're just letting some of this slide, and the guys are making valid points. Yes, the message or the messenger is probably not who you want to be hearing it from. Nobody wants to be hearing that from Sincere, but the bottom line is the bottom line.
Yeah, I hate that they were making points as well because I keep saying this is my point that I keep reiterating. The girls are backing the wrong horse. If you're going to argue that it was about Casey like switching up in 3 days, then argumentatively, Naya did the exact same thing. Like we can't sit
Literally,
here.
they watched the
We
whole
can't
movie of her and Carl, and the girls are like, "Oh,
exactly. So that is not the point that you should be trying to make. The point is that Casey did it disrespectfully and Anaya didn't. That is their whole
that's
point.
it.
They're
That's the
that's
only
the
argument."
that's the only argument. But they keep talking about this 3 day relationship. Like, no, at this point, if we're really waking it up, they both did the same thing. It's just how they went about it. Like that's
Right,
that's the whole argument that they keep
right.
backing the wrong horse for.
I'm like,
So
what are y'all
yes,
talking about?
yes, so I hate that Sincere was the messenger. I really do, because he has no room to talk. Like you have no
But the
leg to
message is
stand on.
accurate. Like the
Yeah,
message is accurate. If it was Carl saying it, everyone would be like, "Yes," like it's accurate. It's just a matter of like who is saying it. Sincere was the last person that probably should have been saying that. But at the end of the day, there is a double standard. Like, and this is the whole point. The whole point of this week was being chosen. I really think that was the theme for this week because, especially for the girls, because they think getting picked is the prize. They do, and like, it's not that. It's never
it's
been
really
that.
not. It's
It's not
never, it's
whether the
not.
guys pick you or not, that is not the goal. That is not the goal. But anyway, I'm gonna continue. So yes, there was a double standard. They showed so yeah, they basically showed like all of the Carl and Anaya stuff. Um, Sincere was basically saying like, "Are you serious?" Because like the girls, they he basically was saying like, "Are you serious?" to the girls because the girls were saying "aw" and like hyping it up, all the things. Um, and basically, Mel, she looked like she was just kind of like disassociating the whole time from a lot of from just the whole movie night in general. And Sincere seems like mad at Anaya. Um, Anaya
Well,
seems
I
mad.
think, I think what it comes down to is Anaya did come at Sincere for not like talking about the whole Casey situation. Let's call it what it is, and then like again the
That is what
whole
it is.
double standard, like of the way that it's just if they would argue that Casey, what he said and did was disrespectful, then I'm backing the girls fully because I agree. But the
No,
problem is
yeah.
they keep bringing up this whole like he switched in 3 days and like he was.
I'm like, that's not the argument.
It's not the argument. I will say, do I think that he was playing it safe in situations? Yes. I think he could have explored Soul. I think he was scared. I think that was playing it safe. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't know. Like, we can't keep
To be
bringing up this whole
honest,
3 day flip.
I know, like I feel like and Anaya does. She said like, she loves like TT and she's happy for her, but she said it's the disrespect. Now it's the disrespect. Days ago, it was not the disrespect. 3 day, like the whole 3 day argument, that's not what it was. It was about you weren't the one chosen, and it was embarrassing that you stood there by yourself and that you were the only one single. Period. Um, Sincere said that yes, like Casey was a little bit more disrespectful, and Zach was coming to Casey's defense about the recoupling and how everyone came at him. And I hate to say it, but I was with Zach. Like in this moment, he didn't make a bad point at all. I feel like those girls came at Casey like it was them. Like I don't even I feel like even then they didn't let Casey really like explain his piece. Ariana let Casey explain his piece. But I think in general, like those guys would have never come at those girls the same. Like I genuinely believe that because I don't think any of them would have cared like that. It's all about making the right decision for you at the end of the day, whether you explore or not. And it is about the respect aspect. But the argument days before was not about that. And now they have a leg to stand on. That's why I was like, wait till movie night, then we can start making the arguments about disrespect. But until then, y'all are basically arguing about the fact that you were rejected, and that's it.
No, I get your point. At the time, still feel like he deserved to be whacked. I'm sorry. Like I still stand on that. I just don't think like now I don't think that they were backing the right horse. Like I think
No, I think
because
like
at
there
that
was some
point,
whackings for sure,
yeah, I just
but
think
I don't
I was
think their
coming from a
explanation was right.
oh yeah, the explanation was wrong. I'm just saying from a viewer perspective, seeing everything
Mm-hmm.
that I saw, I was like, yes, get him. Like he deserves this. Like he deserves it. That's all I'm gonna say. Like that's how as a viewer, like
Yeah,
I keep forgetting that they don't know everything that we know at like during the
yeah,
time. So like it's
yeah,
hard in these situations because I'm like, yes, he deserved every lashing he got. But at the same time, like it wasn't really warranted at that time.
yeah,
It's
yeah. I
hard.
think
It's
it was a
yeah.
timing thing. Like I said, I don't really disagree with the whackings. Like it's not necessarily the whackings, but like the reasoning is what makes it difficult. But it's okay. Because everyone got out whatever they needed to get out at the time, anyways. Um, and then Anaya basically said, like, I'm sorry, I jumped.
It's
TT,
okay.
she said that, she said at that point, like, basically, Casey was wrong if he did bring someone back and wrong if he didn't. Um, and
That's valid. That's a valid
that
point to
she
make.
made a valid point. I wrote it in my notes. I said she's not wrong, and basically, Kata and Trinity's response was like they would jump on him again. And Anaya said like, why are we giving Casey so much sympathy when he literally disrespected her and all this stuff? Um, and then I wrote in my notes basically what we've been saying. Like, what she's not getting is that they didn't really know the extent of Casa until it was presented to them. So I think like the guys arguing their point was just basically them saying like you didn't really know the extent until now. So what was the
Yeah,
issue before? That's their question. I also wrote that Casey is visibly angry with himself, and yeah, that whole Casey was basically like part one of you. Basically, um, that was a very hard watch. Do you have any like I guess last thoughts about his movie night?
to be honest, no. I feel like it's hard because I do think he deserved like everything that
Mm-hmm.
was said. But
Mm-hmm.
again, I it's just hard when the girls are like arguing the right point. But
I know.
at the end of the day, like he did say those things, he was disrespectful, but they're not making the right argument. So I don't know. But I think he deserved everything that he got.
Oh
I just
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know if he like if it was
Mm-hmm.
warranted necessarily in that situation. I don't know. I'm like, it's a slippery slope.
I, I listen. I've had moments when I've backed him, and I've had moments where I backed the girls. I feel like everyone has made their point, but I just think that like there's certain times I think naturally where the public kind of just like sways towards the girls, and for me, I'm like, oh, we just need to look at everything more in an objective standpoint because naturally we all have our biases anyway. And I think this season definitely it sways towards the girls, but the girls aren't always making accurate points. So it's like because their reasoning behind things never really makes sense. Like if it's TT that's bothering you, or if it's me that's bothering you, or if it's whoever, like is it the circumstance? Are you sad that you're single? Are you not? Like, what's the tea? And I think that that whole situation, Casey and I, for me, have been more of like a case study and less of like a couple to me watching them anyway. Because I feel like on both ends, I feel like I've learned a lot about like how Anaya feels and about how Casey feels. And as someone that did ship them in the beginning, obviously now I think that they need to go their separate ways. But I think that valid feelings, valid points have been made on different sides of the spectrum based on how the show is going and it's gone in its full context. Um, because I think anyway, we all kind of jump on a certain reaction anyway because things are played in real time, which is fine too. I think that that's totally normal, considering how the show moves. But I also think that like if you look at the whole story up to this point, like there are certain things where it's okay if someone feels a certain way. It's just about expressing it the right way. And I think that's where they've gotten caught up. That's all. But yeah. Anyway, Sincere's movie, they showed basically all the soul stuff. Sincere kissing soul. Kata kind of like had me laughing during movie night in general, but yeah, the no one compares to you comment to Melanie, his convo with Soul about like enjoying the kiss, with Zach, and I think it was Bryce, maybe, I don't know. Um, Sincere and the combo with him and Mel, exploring Soul, and then he said the same thing in the same day, all that stuff. That was wild. That editing was amazing, though. It really was. I was like, wow, this is great. This is like,
It was
because
a
when you
hard
see it,
watch, honestly.
it was. I just was like, wow, like this is bad. This is
See,
really bad.
I think my problem stems with Sincere because I've dealt with somebody like him in my life, and I hate someone who one not, lies so naturally, like it just rolls off the tongue, and two, you gaslight. Like you're trying to make it seem like you haven't done
Ooh,
anything wrong, and I have a problem with that because I've been gaslit like this in my life before,
me too.
and it is not like you literally feel like you're crazy. So I can see where Melanie is coming from, like, and why she's so upset because, like, he keeps telling her all these things and then he goes and does a different thing and then he's actively lying to her face about it. It is just, it's not a good place
It's
to be in.
insane. It's insane. And this really annoyed me. Like no shade, love Anaya, but like if I was in Melanie's shoes and you're telling me I'm not crazy 4 different times, meanwhile Melanie already acknowledged that like she knows that she wasn't. I know that Anaya was trying to be supportive, so that's not what I'm saying. If she had said it once, cool, whatever, I wouldn't have even said anything. But the point is like Sincere has clearly made Melanie feel. This is when I started getting a little bit like man with the girls because they did not have the same smoke for Sincere that they had for Casey. And to be quite honest with you, Sincere I don't know what they take disrespect as, but lying is pretty disrespectful in my opinion. I feel like being gaslit is also not fun. And I feel like them adding the beloved comment and like all that, like all of that, I'm like, and nothing, right? And to some degree I'm like, okay, I get it. Like I think everyone is a little bit shocked like seeing this in full as like the full picture. Totally fair because I think the public was shocked too.
Yeah,
But
I think it's hard
go
because
ahead.
he literally lied to every single person in that room, not
Mm-hmm.
just to Melanie. Like he was telling the boys one thing, he was telling the girls one thing, he was telling Melanie one thing. Like he lied to everybody, not excusing the fact that like yeah, they should have had the same smoke for him, whatever. But I like if I was watching that for the first time, I would be shocked too, like because I'm like
Oh
you
no, yeah,
literally lied to everyone.
the shock factor was definitely like because again I think the public was shocked too, like I was a little bit shocked rewatching it myself, so I actually could relate in
Yeah.
that sense because it's like oh my, like this is really bad, like he just lies to everybody and there's no trust anywhere that way. You can't make friends that way, relationships, nothing. And Melanie has at that point endured the most of it. She got the brunt of it. She basically, I mean, that girl literally looked like an empty tank. Like I
Yeah,
just
I felt for her so bad just because again, I've been in that situation before where you have nothing left to give. You care about this person so much, but it's just like you constantly lie and you're constantly making me feel like I'm crazy. And then seeing it in 4K like and it's just crazy. And the way that they edit it back to back to back to back to back, like you really get a full picture of what was going on. And like
mhm.
that's hard. And I feel for her because it sucks being put in that situation, and until you've experienced something like that, then you really don't
You
know,
really don't
like, the
know.
full
Yeah.
extent of it.
Yeah, and actually Melanie might be one of the more relatable girls to me, um, personally, because definitely understand like what that feels like. And it's hard. Like you don't know what you know until you do, until it's already done to you, you know what I mean? And it's really hard to come out of that because you've been looking at this person in a certain light, and then they kind of just like take it away from you. Like in
Yeah,
it, I mean, in a matter of minutes, Melanie literally like, and everyone else experienced what she's been experiencing and what her instinctual feeling was. Like, I think she's, what makes it even harder is her friends are kind of backing Sincere and, you know, telling her like, oh, like whatever. Like they don't have the same smoke. Melanie literally stood up in her conversation with Sincere, yelling at him because she's like, it doesn't matter what you say, you keep doing the same thing. And everyone else was just sitting there, you know, like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe this is what we've not even seen from him because again, these are personal conversations he's having. But it is like it's alarming. It's like I think the first movie I gave a lot of grace for the shock because it was like the first time they really saw Sincere in his full in his full range of lying. But the second time I was a little bit like, that's it. I was like, no smoke. Like y'all want to hear Sincere out and there's no smoke. That's when I was a little bit like, and then on top of that, in the same episode, in the same breath, y'all want to back Sincere like over Melanie. Like you're not prioritizing Melanie's feelings, and Melanie has been the one telling everybody like something ain't right, like something is off. I don't know what it is yet, and she wouldn't have known. She wouldn't have, and that's the sad part. That's the part. It's like y'all are all witnessing this with me in 4K literally, just like every other movie we've seen. And y'all still are like, we need to be with Sincere. Like, he does really like you and he does really like want to be with you and all this stuff. And it's like, but
but
you just saw every reason why he's not good for
exactly.
me.
And they should honestly put themselves in her position. If
Mm-hmm.
you like, let's just I'm just picking Trinity because she's like
Go
very
ahead.
different from Melanie. If Trinity was in that same situation, she wouldn't be just saying this stuff. If Kata was in that same situation, she wouldn't be saying that. Like you have to put yourself in Melanie's shoes. And I think a
Mm-hmm.
big part of why they keep backing Sincere is because they want Melanie to stay. Like that's her only option. But it's like at this point, would you rather your friend be at peace and happy, or would you rather her
Yeah.
be miserable in this villa with
Right.
this man who's made her
Mm-hmm.
miserable literally the entire
Literally
summer?
40 days and 49. Like, I mean, I'm literally not exaggerating. They have not had one good day in there fully since they arrived. And they're both OGs, so it's not like, you know, we haven't seen the whole journey play out fully. And I really could not get behind those girls being like, give him another chance, hear him out, you know, you guys like each other, blah blah blah. I would be like, this is horrible advice. This is not
It is.
it's actually the worst advice because you're basically saying, well, yeah, allow yourself to get played again for a third time because we've seen it in front of you with Soul, technically, with the whole villa witnessing it. Then we've seen it with Amora, where only half the villa witnessed it. And now everybody's witnessing it at the same time, how everyone's been lied and manipulated to. And you're still saying, like, go back to that man. Why?
And can I say something too? I feel
Go
like
ahead.
Sincere was justifying a lot of his actions based on that slumber party when Melanie was like kissing both him and Corbin. I think that fully activated him. And that's when he was like, oh, well, I can just do whatever I want. He's been using that to justify his actions, which is not okay because I really feel like people crucified Melanie so bad for that. Mind you, at that point, it was like what, day 7, day 6? Like,
Oh, I don't
it
even remember.
wasn't
It was
like,
early though.
yeah, we weren't even fully, like, y'all didn't even
In the
fully know
season
each
yet.
other. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's just like, you cannot hold that over her head. I didn't like
At
when
this
he was
point,
saying
everyone's
that.
known each other for a month, and we need to look at this in the grand scheme of things. And I think movie night part two does explain like a lot of that because it's one of those things where you can't explain that you lied. Like I don't even know how he was trying to justify that. And I did see him say like, but you got with Corbin and I was like, what,
Exactly. Like,
why is that valid?
there was no reason for Sincere to open his mouth. Like, there's nothing to me, and this is what I was saying about like sometimes the explanation isn't needed because there was nothing he could have said to me at that point to like make me, unless it was like some sort of apology. I don't care what you have to say. Like, everything has been said based off of what we've seen, truly.
Yeah.
So I just didn't see a point for him to even open his mouth after the clip had been played. Because what is there to say? There's nothing. There's nothing you
We
can say at
literally
this
all
point.
saw it. If the guys, I'm not even gonna listen, valid. Like if the guys are shocked, there is a problem. Like,
Especially these guys. This
right.
cast, like, if these guys
They've
are
done
shocked,
some dirt.
they've done some dirt.
And like if they are shocked, because I mean, since we've at this point only seen part one of Sincere's movie and Casey's movie, like obviously Casey was like disrespectful in his tone, his language, what he was saying about Anaya, all that stuff, right? But like if he and Corbin are like, what am I watching? There is a problem. Like, because Bryce and Zach, like, I think they would have been shocked regardless. But if those two are shocked, I'm like, you've said some things and done some things that like the entire villa has to now be like, oh, you're not who I thought you were. You're
And
not, you know, an honest, upfront guy at all.
And that's like one of the worst things, in my opinion, in this life that you can be painted as. If you're painted as a liar, your word automatically means nothing. Like, genuinely, it means nothing. Like, and you've lost everyone's respect. Because if we cannot trust what you're saying, then why would we listen to you? Why would we care what you have to say? Like, you can talk all day, but your actions have proved that you cannot be trusted.
And
That's all I'm gonna say.
that's actually exactly what you just said is exactly why I feel like the girls having his back like this has like completely like it kind of turned me off. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little bit like,
I agree.
y'all, I was a little bit taken aback because I know that with the whole story of it all, right? Kata maybe doesn't have really much of a position in it, but I even think her saying like team sincere, blah 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 later on as we'll see. I'm just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like what what kind of friends are y'all to Melanie? Like
Not good ones,
you
I'll
guys
tell you
don't
that.
benefit, like there's nothing that you guys benefit from in this equation other than Melanie staying longer. But at this point, why would you want Melanie to stay longer? Because you like at this point Melanie is not benefiting at all other than being friends with those girls. And even then I don't even know because
Yeah, after
she's
last
really
week,
close with Anaya and Anaya is like championing Sincere and I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You wanted everybody to dogpile basically on Casey, rightfully so. I'm not saying that's wrong, but you wanted that, but you're not even seeing. It's not even the shock of the
it's
movie.
not,
It's
you
like the
can't even
commentary
say,
after.
you can't even say it's the shock of the movie because you were still, the thing is about Anaya in that situation, she was still willing to have a conversation with Sincere after that and basically be like, I'm disappointed, like, but you need to work around this, like, you need to get it together. Why are we championing this man to still go and pursue Melanie? That
I know
is why
why. I know
Why?
I have it's not even a theory because it's actually happened. Um Anaya and actually somebody commented it like on a TikTok or something that I saw. Anaya thinks that Melanie being chosen by Sincere is like the best thing ever because she was not chosen by Sincere. You know how everyone was shipping like Sincere and Anaya at some point or whatever? There was that phase. Like, I'm seeing
Maybe
what,
before they actually got in the villa. I don't
right.
I don't pay attention to that stuff because I'm like,
Well, no, this is what I'm saying. I think that there is a part of Anaya. As a girl, I understand, but like there is a part of Anaya that feels like Sincere is some kind of prize. Like because he had options at the beginning and Melanie was the one that was chosen by him. So I think she feels like Melanie is lucky because she was chosen by him and she was not. I do feel like she wants her to stay. I do agree with the point that she wants her to stay in the villa because they are friends. But I think two things can be true at the same time. And that girl was not picked by Sincere. That's all I'm going to leave this segment as. But I'm just saying, I think that these are all facts. These are all things that we've seen play out in real time. So that's all. But part two movie night, um, Corbin is saying that this part doesn't really matter, but he was basically saying that that Jaden didn't really try to flip the little like coin thingy. Honestly, like to determine girls' boys. Honestly, I think that
that
the
coin was pointless.
yeah, like they should have
They
just
should
took
have just,
turns.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They should have went back and forth. Because at the
Right.
end of the day, it doesn't matter. Everyone's
Everything's
clips
gonna
was
get
getting
out, right?
shown,
Like it
so
don't
that
matter.
was pointless.
I don't even know if they showed all 10 clips. I need to like go back and count. But
They didn't, I don't think, but
okay. Well,
or
anyway,
maybe they did, but they didn't show us.
us all
Yeah,
10. Yeah. I think movie night was cut short though, just because of all the Melanie and Sincere stuff. I feel like it was getting to be too much.
yeah.
Um, anyway, Corbin's movie about Kenzie screwing him over, Parmita and Corbin's conversations, as well as Corbin and Casey talking about Anaya not picking him. Um, TT coming in saying like she wants KC, and then um, the begging for like cuddles, kisses, all that. Um, the powwow about the college girls versus the high school girls. And then Corbin not thinking about Kenzie. Um, and then like his comment about it or whatever. And then Corbin saying like she's probably gonna bust the splits. I laughed so hard. Don't know
Because was
why.
did he lie?
Did he
She that
lie?
the night that they left, she had busted the split. So I mean, he knows her well.
Right, like she's probably doing that right now. I was laughing so hard at that. And then Parmita saying she's not scared of Kenzie. Corbin is like laughing. And Casa Girl saying Kenzie likes anyone who likes her.
Well, they were immediately like, but that was Sydney. That wasn't us. That was Sydney.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that was
Sydney's
funny.
not even there to defend herself. So it's just
Right.
like,
So and she don't know Sydney, so who cares? Um,
exactly.
and then the Corbin and Permita, I'm hot, you're hot conversation. And and then Anaya saying like forget the guys and that she's like over Casey and Corbin basically. And then Kenzie came for Parmita for not being scared. I didn't really understand, but I feel like
I
Kenzie
think
just
Kenzie, and she's so funny because you have no room to talk about anything. Like
literally like,
you are
honey,
just as bad as some of the guys sitting over on the other
you're one of
side. So
them
like
sometimes.
I really think she was grasping at straws here because I think Kenzie gets so offended if anyone has anything to say about her.
Because
Because, like,
Parmita was like, it's not rude.
because it wasn't rude. Like, she
It
has nothing to
wasn't.
be scared about. Also, let's just go back a little bit to when Jen and Kenzie had their conversation about Kenzie kissing Gaul. Jen was very straight up and was like, I would not be your friend if we were on Love Island. And Kenzie was offended
That was
by
a peak
that.
moment for Jen right there. That was a peak moment.
It was peak. Like she earned a couple fives for me, but like still, she was offended by that. Like, but you're acting as if you didn't take yourself to go kiss Gaul. Like you didn't have to do that.
Literally.
That was not necessary at all. It wasn't necessary
literally.
at all, and you still did it. And then you get upset when someone is calling you out on it, and you're like, "No, I don't agree. Like, I'm just doing what's best for me. Like, a kiss is a handshake. Like, it's not that deep. Like, girl, you would not be saying this in the real world, please.
Yeah, I
We
was like,
don't go
maybe in the Love
around.
Island setting, but not in the real world.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we don't go around kissing people as a greeting. Like, that's weird. That's
It
so
it
weird.
is, but to be fair, I will say to be fair, I know a lot of people like said a lot about that comment, but when they came into Love Island, everyone just started kissing each other. So in
Which
the
is
real
still
world,
weird.
it is. But I think in that world, she wasn't wrong. But in the real world, a kiss is not like a handshake, Kenzie. I need you to wake up. Like,
think
it is
she's
not.
wrong regardless. I'm sorry. I'm not defending that at all. I think
No,
she's
no,
wrong
it's a weird
regardless.
comment to make because I think she was trying to justify something that couldn't be justified. Again, she was
Right.
acting like one of the guys. Like,
And at what point do you just shut up and just admit that you're wrong? Like that's the point I'm trying
that's
to
the
make.
problem.
That
Yes.
like at what point do you just be like, okay, I'm sorry, I this is wrong. I'll own up to that. It seems like the people who are in these situations, they're not, and I'm not saying all of them, but like they're not, it's not clogging to them what they've done wrong, if that makes sense.
Everything is a yes and. Like, yes, I was
Exactly.
wrong, and
No,
but
no, or a but. Yeah, no. Take that out. Just say yes, I was wrong, and that's I.
call it a day.
No, literally.
Call it a day. And then Kenzie says she doesn't care about his connection, just about how Corbin speaks about her. Jen says to Corbin that it shouldn't take a connection for him to say those things, or he just shouldn't say them at all. She wasn't wrong. I feel like certain things you just don't have to like, you know, say.
Especially the high school girls comment that came out of nowhere. Like genuinely came
That
out.
did come out of nowhere, but dare I say, I feel like that night in particular, and a little bit with the sincere of it all, I don't feel like it was necessary in the moment. I also felt like it was a dig because it was, but I feel like there have been high school moments, and which is fair because those girls are younger, they're at a different point in life, all that stuff. But I just think that like Corbin, my thing with Corbin is like Corbin to me is like the Miguel of the season in terms of he was the one everyone wanted. He's very honest. He was an F boy. Like,
Who?
um,
But okay. Who actually wanted Corbin? Like no
well,
shade.
at the
I don't.
beginning, like everyone, well, at the beginning though, like after they had a conversation with him, no, but at the beginning, everyone wanted Corbin. Like,
Or maybe they were just their interest was piqued. I can't say wanted. I don't think anyone other
fair
than
enough.
Kenzie like really wanted. I think everyone's interest was piqued because obviously he was like one of the newer bombshells. He was like one of the first ones because
I mean, he
it
was one of the better ones as
yeah.
far as like looks wise. He was like an actual.
What can we clock this for like just 2 seconds? I
Mhm.
think there's only been five bombshells this season. Kata, wait,
Girl,
no, six, six. Kata, Gabrielle, which I don't even feel fully count them because they were literally there on day one. But
and
Kata,
Gabe wasn't supposed
Gabrielle,
to be one.
exactly. Let's clock that. And then Corbin, and then Sol, Jen, and Caleb. And then there's Casa. Like
And
there's
they
only
weren't great. They weren't great bombshells either.
no,
They
they
didn't
no.
bombshell the way that they should have.
Caleb, Soul, and Jen, I love them, but they were not Soul. Soul, you lost me. But you know what? It's whatever. Like
I mean,
she's
I think even
fine.
love is strong for Caleb and Jen. I like them,
Right,
but
okay. I like
I feel
them.
like yeah, but I feel like they just nobody bombshelled for real this
They
year.
were the
Like
floppiest bombshells.
Parmita, Parmita, and I'll say this every time. Parmita should have been
They
like
should have been a
right up
bombshell.
there. Yeah, right up
You know what
there.
they should have done? They should have at least brought in two more people on both sides, like a guy and a girl, for before Casa, like they did last year when Andrina and TJ came in. That would have been better.
That was my argument like week 2 or 3 because that is a lot of the reason why it's hard to make arguments for Anaya and about Anaya because there wasn't any bombshells that really came in for Anaya or for Trinity. Like there wasn't until Casa and then there was 12 men and then nobody was chosen basically. Um let's clock that as well, but I think like there was nothing for them to work with. Like this season there was nothing like it was catering to an audience that wasn't there. Like Kenzie was like the only blonde girl in there for like the first week or so. So there was never
Yeah.
really like anyone, and everything was getting catered to Kenzie. So again, no one really had much to work with. Like there was a lot of, and there was not enough bombshells. So I think that was a
Well,
lot of the argument in the beginning.
we also need to wake up the fact that it was catered to Kinsey as well because of the argument that Beatrice and Melanie had when
Yes.
Corbin came in. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what started this whole Kinsey Make a Wish campaign where everyone, no, literally, like,
Make a
let's
wish.
clock it, where everyone was like, oh, Kinsey deserves this because she's single. She needs to find a connection. You have a connection. Why are you trying to get to know people? But at the end of the day, I feel like the the whole premise of the show is lost and it's been lost for these past two seasons because you're here to explore to find your best connection, stick to that person, and then fall in love, hopefully. Like that is the goal. I don't know like what this cast is thinking, but the whole exploration process and finding your best connection has been lost.
Can I say something? It might be a hot take, but I don't think it is anymore. Season six like really changed the perspective of, I guess you could say, between the boy moms, the exploring, how much you should explore, how much you shouldn't explore, who you should be coupled up with, who you shouldn't be coupled up with, what kinds of people are likable. Like they really changed the dynamic, and for better and for worse. Because I think that people are getting credit for things post season, not just season eight, but season seven as well. There has been, obviously there's been an increase in audience engagement and the audience as a whole. The age range has been expanded. The whole, even there's more men watching the show now. The whole dynamic is just different. And there's different perspectives now that are offered that season six, because of their um because of their fame or whatever, they brought in a different audience that now pays attention to all of the elements of the show, and including the exploring. And because none of them, like most of them sticked with, they stuck with the same people most of the show. Like they would explore and stuff, but like everyone pretty much came out with like who everyone expected them to come out with for the most part, other than Leah, because the whole Leah and Rob thing. But other than that, like everyone else came out with whoever their original couple was. So and Janae didn't, but no one really liked Koi for Janae anyway. So I think that that whole dynamic of like sticking with your couple and rooting for the guys and this and that, like all of that came with season six. It's just now showing up differently because now we're experiencing it between season seven and season eight. We're experiencing Love Island in a different way. I'm not saying it's necessarily wrong or right, but the whole demographic of the show is like totally different now. So public perception, stuff like that, what people think they should be doing, what opportunities they should be getting. You don't even have to make it that far in the show, and you can have more than 500K. Like before, Love Island was like if you won, you got 500K. You know what I mean? Like it's just a
Yeah.
different vibe now, across the board with everything. So I don't think that that's necessarily the Islanders' fault. I just think that that's just what comes with this show now as a viewer.
Well, I think it's lost upon everyone. I think it's lost upon the viewers and I think it's lost upon the Islanders too. Like,
That is
and
so
that
true.
it does have something to do with season 6 because I feel like the thing about Love Island is you're not going to have a great season like that for years to come. Like to me, the
Right.
best season before season 6 was season 3
Me too,
because
girl.
it just and it had everything. Like it had the drama, it had the friendship, it had the scammers, it had everything. Like it had genuinely
We were right.
everything.
We were in there.
We were there.
Triangles. I mean, we were
Exactly.
in there.
Right. But there wasn't a season like that for years to come. So there it's not gonna be another season 6 for a while. And we just have to accept that. Like you cannot compare
You can't
each
recreate
cast.
it. There
Yeah, you
isn't going to
can't
be like, and that's
yeah.
why I kind of think, with Soul saying that everyone's staying in their couples and stuff, like, I think that's why she said that. There could have been, I think with that point, I think it's showing up differently now. Like, I think the audience is translating it a little bit differently than initially. I'm not saying anyone's a fan of Soul. I'm saying the couples island thing and like the exploring part of that has been very difficult this season for some reason. I think a lot of it has to do with I think a lot of it has to do honestly with like the bombshells that they did send in early on. Um,
Yeah, it what it comes down to, it really comes down to Jen, Caleb, and Soul. Like, let's clock
it
it.
really
They didn't
does.
do their job as a bombshell because at
Yeah,
the end of the day, their job was to come in and talk to everyone and take somebody from someone. Like, that is your job as a bombshell. If you're
right.
not fit to do that, then you shouldn't be a bombshell. And I
Instead,
don't think the
everyone was
three of them
having a pity
were.
party because they weren't chosen. I'm like, what is up with being chosen this season? I don't understand.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, let's clock it because, like, even Caleb, like, he was like the better bombshell out of the three, but he still didn't really do his job effectively because he was so
Right.
like zoned in on Kenzie. Like, you didn't talk to anyone. Jane, we
Exactly.
didn't see her talk to anyone but Gabrielle. Like, it doesn't
Right. She was
matter.
basically forced with him. So,
Exactly, but it's just like you didn't do your job. You were supposed to talk to everyone. It
like, you're
doesn't
not an
matter if you
OG.
don't. Well, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
if you don't think there's a vibe or not. The point of this show is to see if there's a vibe. You can't go based off of what you've done in the past. Like, that's the entire
exactly.
point.
Yeah.
But I digress. Let's get into
Let's move on.
yeah, let's
So,
move on.
anyway, Kenzie's movie is next. As we all saw, it was cinema. Because I played in my head, I was like, girls is players too. That's what I said.
Because girls is players
Is
too.
players too.
Shout out Coy Leray or
Right?
Leroy.
Shout her out right now. Yeah, that's what I was playing in my head the whole time Kenzie's movie was going. But basically, they showed all of Kenzie and Corbin's like dynamic. Um, them it showed basically her saying like they're a match, and then saying that's Caleb, and her and Corbin like in at the pool, and like that conversation, and then her and Corbin at the dock, and Caleb thought they were kissing or whatever. They were not, but that's what he thought. Um, and then Kenzie telling Caleb that what he wants to hear, being more focused on um, Corbin basically than Caleb. I did feel bad for Caleb. They were playing like the Barbie song. I was like, Lord have mercy.
I
Um,
didn't feel like that fit at the time. No,
right?
no shade. But I was like, this is an interesting stuff because this has nothing. The fact that they're playing this for a man goes against everything that that movie was about. No shade.
Literally. Uh,
Like,
I was laughing. I was like, what are we doing?
right.
Kenzie says that she felt a stronger connection with Corbin. And then I basically was so proud of Caleb because he basically like stood up for himself, and he said that he wouldn't call it a waste of time, but he put too much energy towards Kenzie, and that he wishes he would have explored more. Kenzie says that that's fair and that she's sorry. Kata
See,
said,
and that's exactly what Sincere should have done. Just be like, yep, I'm sorry. Like, that's the difference. Like, that's
no,
it.
yes,
Like,
yes
you
and
trying
no. Because I feel like Kinsey was like being a little combative, but I do feel like in the moment she held her hands up for
oh,
Caleb, because
she
Caleb
was,
she did
yeah, she
dead
was definitely
wrong.
combative, but like, I'm just saying, like, just say what Sincere should have done is just say you're sorry. Why are we arguing about this? There's nothing to argue. Like, there's
Right,
no point that he could have made after that
right,
entire clip. Like, just say you're
literally,
sorry. Like, there was no point you could have made. But yeah.
exactly. And then Zach and Dylan talking about it's the same thing she did with Dylan and Gal, and
Dylan is so funny because he's so drama. He's so dramatic. Like the way he was like,
everything.
I feel like I'm watching last night on repeat. Like Dylan, stop. Like he's trying to get this sympathy edit. I
Literally,
got
I was like,
moved.
Dylan, you don't even need it, honey. Like
You
Kenzie's doing
don't.
everything. Like, you don't even need it. We're not like pour you sorrow's prayers. Like, like
Literally.
literally.
Like you're a
Um,
Casa boy. We were never moved for that
right.
storyline. I'm
Literally,
sorry.
like, I'm sorry, honey. But Carl at this point says, give us some wholesome stuff. I was like, that's not happening. Melanie and Corey, their movie was next, and so was Sincere and Amora. Um, Basically the girls were laughing at, they were just like excited about Melanie and Corey or whatever. They were kind of just like kikiing about that. And then Amora and Sincere, they showed them like kissing, and then Sincere saying he feels like they got a lot closer. Amora is a great listener, that's what he's looking for, all that stuff. And him telling Amora that he wants to emerge in the experience fully. And then, yeah, them kissing basically. And then Sincere saying that they pour into each other's glasses. Um, and Kinsey was kind of like comforting Mel at this point, and him saying that if he had more time with Amora, then she would have been the one. Um, that was very hard to watch. And Amora said that rejection is protection, and Melanie said that that was the only kiss that she had with Corey, um, in comparison to obviously Amora and Sincere.
The
And
many
Sincere,
kisses.
yeah, the many. This is like solo all over again. And then Sincere saying that at first he wasn't going to emerge himself, but he felt he needed to give Amora a chance. Mel asking basically, why didn't he choose Amora if he was going to do all that and say all that to her face? And Bryce kind of stood up for Sincere a little bit here. And Mel said the only reason he chooses her is because she's a fool. Um, and Bryce said that like she's valid, but he doesn't properly say how he feels about things. I'm sorry, I didn't really agree with Bryce in that moment. I was just like, Bryce, just let him get the lashing. Like clearly, the man's a liar. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he should have like said anything. I do think he was trying to make Melanie like not seem like as much of a fool as she was saying what she was. I don't think she's a fool, but I do think she lets a lot of things slide. So
oh
I
yeah, for
think
sure.
I think I know Bryce is getting taking a lot of heat for like stepping in this situation, which honestly I don't think he should have.
Oh
Like I
really?
think he should have. A lot of people,
I didn't know that. I was just saying that from my own observation, but I didn't know that he was getting heat for it.
a lot of a lot of Call Naya fans have been entering the chat, Twitter, and like coming at Bryce because apparently there can only be one swirl on this show. And like a lot of them have been like just digging at Bryce for things. And that was one of the things. And I'm like, in the grand scheme of things, should he have stepped in? No, but like he's not the person who's like
See,
done
I'm
the
not on that
most.
side of Twitter because I don't like I see car not like those fans or whatever. I'm not anyway, I'm gonna get there, but I just feel like um Anaya fans can be a little bit much, I'm not gonna lie.
I
Um
agree. And I was with y'all until you started coming for Grenady for no reason. Then I'm like, okay, I really
listen,
have to drop y'all.
I've not really come for
I'm not
Brinity.
talking about you. I'm
Oh no
talking
no
about
no.
the Call Naya
No no no,
fans.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like what I've witnessed on Twitter, it's kind of hard too because they have their undivided attention towards Casey as well. So it's kind of like it's just a
Yeah.
lot to look at. That's why I said I haven't. That was just my own observation of like Bryce or whatever. Just because in the moment I was like, I don't think Melanie wants to hear that right now. Like, I think Melanie, like, I think he was trying to help, but that's not
Yeah.
what I would want to hear if I was Melanie, I guess is what I mean.
Yeah, it wasn't necessary. And I
I
think
don't think he
he's
was malicious. I just think it
yeah.
wasn't,
I
you
think
know,
he's just the type of person to try and mediate things, but sometimes you just gotta sit back and
you just
let
gotta
things
let it go.
happen.
Yeah. And Mel, I'm so happy that she said that being respected and not chosen part is the prize in front of everyone because I think that's such a valid point. Like, I think that the men needed to hear that and the girls. Like, that's not the point. Like, we all want to be chosen on the show, but we all also should want to be respected. Like, and I'm proud of her for saying that at least out in the open. And Sincere in this moment brings up Corbin, and she's like, "What did I do with Corbin? Like, don't play victim." That's the one
Yeah.
thing. That's the one thing. If
That's
I'm
the
giving
one
him
thing
this
he
one
has to
thing,
giving
okay,
that to him anymore either because you can't keep using that as a you can't hold something over her head like that.
oh no
Like
no,
that
not sincere, not sincere.
oh,
I was gonna
I'm
say,
sorry.
I was gonna
I'm
say,
sorry. I
not
should have cut you
sincere.
off. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, you're fine. I was just gonna say, that's the one thing that actually Casey didn't do because even when the guys were defending him, he didn't say, at least I'm just talking about movie night. Like he didn't
Oh
say, "Oh, it's
yeah.
not my fault." Like he did. He was like, "No, I'm the one that said it. Like, y'all don't need to defend me. Like, they don't need to come for y'all. It's not that kind of party. Like, I did say it, and that wasn't right. Whatever. Like, him trying to flip it on Corbin, I was like, wow, you're crazy. I was like,
Okay, yeah, sorry. I should have let you finish because I was like
oh, you're fine. You're literally
so
fine. I
heated
get it.
about. So
Sincere's a mess. I no,
he's
I would have clocked me
horrible.
too. Like, you're
No,
fine.
no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Um, you're
I'm
fine.
so
No.
sorry.
And then he says, yeah, he brings up Corbin, and Bryce basically said that you just have to say like your rights and your and he said he still wants to be basically in Melanie's home. I was laughing because I was literally like, Sincere, like you've done everything wrong. Like
Literally everything.
not only did this girl just watch basically 30 minutes of you lying to her, but then you want to play victim. Like I just
My
couldn't I
thing is another thing about why they should not make it to the end.
at
Would
all.
it? I would not want to be sincere having to meet Melanie's family at this point. Like, because if I were
They're done
Melanie's
with
mom,
him.
I would have dragged him. I would have dragged him through the mud and back. Like, no, there's no way. I would
Literally.
tell Melanie straight up to her face, like, no, no, hun, like you need to drop this man. Like the way he has treated
Me
you in this
too.
short amount of time is honestly too much disrespect for anyone to take. And it's honestly, I think the girls are doing her a disservice. I think, honestly, her Mel Sear fans are doing her a disservice. Like, I don't think
Literally.
they need to make it to the end for their families to come
I don't
in.
either.
Because I don't think that's going to be a very productive thing.
Nope. Me either.
I think a lot of their families don't like some of the people that they're with. Because even Kata has a problem with Zach. Kata's sister has a problem with Zach too, from what I've seen. So
I
I'm
don't
just
even see
like,
how Zach and Kata are likable in any capacity. That's why
well,
I was
that's,
like, Kata is likable. Like I see
yeah.
the likability in her. She has like tons of fans that love like her look and stuff. But I think like in the grand scheme of it all, guys, we gotta look at the big picture. Like it's more about who's actually like gonna have a clean time at like family day, who's actually like gonna I don't think most of these couples have a chance of making it out, so it's nothing personal. But I also feel like it's do we want Family Day to be all about Melanie and Sincere again? Like that's how I'm looking at it. I just I cannot keep think. If I was Melanie's friend, I would have told her to leave Sincere a long time ago. Um,
Exactly.
like I
Especially
just
after movie night. After movie night, I would have
that would have been my last
tipped her
straw.
with anybody. Like I would have had tried to get people to pull her for chats. Like please, like no, I will
Right.
not let you die on this hill. No.
Melanie is like running upstairs crying, and Anaya is like, gone behind her, whatever. But it's like
At
at this
this point,
point,
I feel like we're about to say kind of the
go
same
ahead,
thing.
go ahead, go
I feel
ahead.
like Anaya has not done anything to like
Anything
actually
to
help
help.
the situation. No shade.
No, all shade. I'm shading her. I all shade because Jordan, like, genuinely think about this. If any of our friends were to tell all of us, like, I would be like, this is bird behavior. We should not be doing this. Like, we should not be egging on each other to be like, hey, yeah, you should stick with the guy that's been lying to you for 40 days and 40
Lying
nights if
to
you've
you,
known him
lying
for a
to
month.
us,
Right. Like,
lying to
I
the
feel bamboozled.
public, like lying on camera as if this hasn't been filmed.
We
Like
can
he's
replay
lying.
it. We can go back.
Exactly.
Like,
And
do you need a reminder?
that's probably why the producers built that compilation because they're like, look, you're not getting away with anything. If like at this point,
And I don't know who's
everything.
voting for Zach and Kata or Melanie and Sincere. I only brought Zach and Kata in the mix because we were talking about them, but at this point, we need to be very honest about who's actually compatible. And there's certain couples we're not being shown as much due to them not having any drama, but there's a reason why they're not like there's a reason, you know? So I think that
Exactly.
we need to be honest about it. Like Melanie and Sincere are not good for each other and they don't need to be together. Like we've said this from jump that like we all got to re-witness what happened. They all experienced that for the first time in a compilation setting. As a public fan base, we need to be very honest about how we're how we're moving and how we're picking and choosing, because there are couples there that are compatible, even though I don't think they'll last regardless. But I still think that like there's a compatibility portion to where like they're not arguing every day and the girl is not crying every night. Like the there is that side of things too. Anyway, Melanie went to cry alone in the speakeasy, and she's it's kind of like, the whole honesty thing of it all has just really like sucked the life out of that girl. And then Corbin said to Sincere that like he keeps messing up. Like when when they were trying to figure out like who sleeps in soul ties and all that, like he was like, you just keep messing up. Like like you're just not honest
The fact about it is, like, one of the guys were like, if she's sleeping soul ties, offer her the bed. Mans did not do that. Like, why was
at
he
all.
in the bed and let Melanie go sleep outside? Like, no, you should have been outside with that owl. And that owl should have like pecked you or something. Like, why are you spread full out on the bed while Melanie is like out there being miserable, getting eaten up by bugs? When she's not in
Literally,
the wrong. Like, no.
literally.
If I
Like, what
was
are we talking
Melanie, I
about?
would have told him, take your stuff outside. Like, actually, no, like genuinely, I don't even
Right.
know why
Like,
you're
what are we
here.
talking about?
Exactly. Like,
But yeah, movie night's basically over, and the aftermath of it is um, all the girls are, everyone went to their corners, and you know, Casey and Anaya, they did like apologize to each other for how they like physically came for each other or whatever, and then um, TT was kind of telling Anaya that like she didn't want her to feel like Casey never acknowledged Anaya. I do feel like that's more than I can say about. I'm actually, can I say this? I'm gonna slide this in there because it's about Sincere. The fact that they didn't show that Sincere said that like he doesn't even remember what Melanie looks like or looked like until whatever. I was like,
at that point, that would have been too much. Like, a lot was said, a lot was done. Like, the producers
wow.
probably forgot about that.
They probably did,
Honestly,
true. But honestly, I was like, if the girls had heard that, I wonder if things would have been different. But then again, it's like you're watching all these
I
lives and
don't.
you're still acting.
I don't think it would have been different, but that's just me.
Yeah. But TT says that she understands Anaya 100%, and if she was in her shoes, like she understands, and Anaya understands her defending Casey and all that. And then the guys are like talking to Casey, and they're basically just talk to Anaya and just come to like a truce or whatever. Um, and Casey kind of said, I think in his confessional, that he hurt someone's feelings in the process, and like he could have went about it like way more mature, and he just said a lot of like dumb stuff. Um,
Glad he owned up to that because, yeah, I would
I
agree. He
mean,
did.
literally, I'm not gonna lie, Casey did better post movie night than Sincere did. Um,
I mean,
as far
yeah.
as like the ownership of it all, Sincere got
I
work to
mean,
do.
if Casey didn't, because, like, again, Sincere to this point, he has shown that he has no empathy for other people and, like, he doesn't think about anyone else but himself. So, like, genuinely, I expected Casey to do better than Sincere. Like, I don't think anyone could do worse than Sincere. And if you can, then
That's
that's a
that.
problem.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, Dylan doesn't want to pursue anyone but Kenzie. Anaya said to Kenzie that like what she did to Caleb was really bad. Kata is still mad about Alana, but they made up. It's fine. Um, Carl and Anaya. Um, yeah, Carl was just like, I mean, you put your heart out there, just just bit you in the butt kind of thing. Um, about picking Casey, and then Casey and TT had a conversation, and Casey, this was the moment where I said, at this point, he's actually being like genuine. Like, um, when he said that, like seeing himself, like he was like, that was actually me. Like that was me up there, and like he didn't like how he saw himself. Rather than blaming it on Corbin or blaming it on the guys or whatever, he says that like, that he acknowledged that like that really is him, and like, you know, that was horrible what he had said. Um, and you know what? For me, that was that. I was like, I knew that they were gonna have a conversation again, but I was just like, honestly, that's better than than like anything else that's gone on that night. Honestly, I was just like, woo,
Yeah, it's good that he didn't like try to defend himself.
at all. Like he basically was like the person that I am, like I don't like that. Like I don't like what I said and he basically was even basically admitting to Titi that like that was me, like just telling you, like that was really who who I am kind of thing. That was only last week. I'm sorry, I have to slide this in. He said that about Sincere's comment or whatever when he was just like, "Oh, I'm not who I used to be" or whatever. He said that in last night's episode or whatever. And Casey was
Yeah,
like, "Honey, that was
that was
last
just
week."
that was just a couple of days ago, hun. Like
Right? Like you done forgot. Sincere got amnesia.
sincere.
But
He's an interesting person. That's all I have to say.
for real. Anaya said that Carl's made her feel more comfortable than Casey ever did. I thought that was kind of weird, not gonna lie, but it's okay. Um,
I mean, to be fair, they haven't had that much time and they haven't had that many arguments. So like you can't really compare your relationship with Carl to Casey
yeah,
because
I
you've
just thought
known
that was kind of
Carl.
weird. I was just like, I mean, we're at different spots here.
Exactly.
Carl's been there for 3 days. Like, let's calm
And
down.
you dumped him. So
Yeah,
I'm
I'm like,
confused.
what are we talking about?
If
Plus,
he
why
made
would
you
you pick KC if Carl's
if
made you feel more comfortable
Carl
than ever? Like, what?
right, let's wake it up. Let's wake it up.
Right. And then Trinity said that she respects Corbin for owning up to things. Uh, Kata says like Zach is perfect for her.
I don't
Um,
know. But I'll let that slide. I don't have
the
energy
girls
to
said that they'll
argue.
like never feel bad for KC. Corbin said that Corbin, Casey, and Caleb had a conversation, and Casey was just basically saying like, he admitted that he was disrespectful and that like he basically has to apologize to Anaya. He feels like his words have no weight at this point, but like, um, you know, at that point he felt like he needed to apologize. And Caleb says that like him and Jaden have like kind of plateaued. And Corbin said, bring up how you feel regardless. Um, Kenzie and Kata said, you're kind of acting like sincere, like you kind of did throughout this process. And you know, Kenzie's kind of like, well, I didn't lie other than like the kiss. Like I haven't lied about anything. Um,
She
and
hasn't lied, but she purposely left stuff out. That's what I'll say. Like you
yeah,
haven't been upfront either.
right.
Exactly.
And Sincere and Anaya, they basically Anaya was disappointed in Sincere, blah blah blah. And he says that he values the friendship that he has with her. And she says, he wasn't the friend he should have been like defending her name. And she said it feels like he's playing everybody. He is, honey. Um, he wants to fix it but doesn't know how. And Aya says like he should feel bad, and Melanie's embarrassed, and Sincere kind of figured it out a little bit too late. I'm glad he caught on. And he doesn't feel like he deserves her, and Anaya says that he looks dumb. Bryce and Melanie is hurt, and Bryce said that her feelings are valid. And he kind of just says, um, he's just stupid. He's learning. He has a lot of work to do to show Melanie that he wants her. And Bryce thinks that he cares about her. Melanie doesn't feel like that. Um, and yeah, Corbin and Parmita, they want to know each other on a deeper level. Honestly, that conversation was just like blah. Um,
I say a lot of these were. A
yeah, they
lot
were.
of them were.
Anaya did disappoint me in that conversation with Sincere, but that's a different story for a different day.
Yeah, I
Casey,
mean, I feel like we can touch on that further in the next
yeah,
segment.
yeah. Casey said Anaya wants to hear like the whys and like he has to take full accountability. And I'm happy that was him. That's why I'm like, he acknowledged all of these things on his own. Nobody like came to him and was like, you need to do blah, blah, blah. Like he just took it in. Um, and he said that I think in front of Carl or something. And then um, everyone thinks Sincere and Melanie will recover. I said I kind of feel like they will just because I feel like they keep going back to each other anyway, but I don't think it's healthy. Um,
Yeah, they will. I don't think they should, but they will.
yeah. Dylan and Kenzie, wants to make Dylan happy and she apologizes. And um, so yeah, Casey and Anai's chat, that's where we left off. Um, yeah. When he pulled her for a chat, Anaya like made like fun of the grandma thing. She was like, "Grandma's coming" or whatever. Um, sorry. Um, yeah, so Casey um said that, he said a lot of things and that he was embarrassed of. Um, and he like curled in a ball watching it. He kind of cringed. He said he was holding so much in because he didn't want to keep arguing with her. And then he said, in due time, it kind of blew up to the point where it built up resentment. And, the resentment was like the part she didn't even know about. He says his feelings for her weren't fake and that he doesn't want her to feel like she was a safe option or that he was lying to her. He said that they had bright moments, they had some bad moments, but he said like all those moments are uh, dear to him. And um, he said that she can like still hate him and feels mad. And if she feels mad, like it's fine, like he understands. And, she basically forgives him because he apologizes. And I just want to say that this is the best conversation that they've ever had, regardless of the outcome. I feel like everybody was like heard for once. As someone that is like or was like whatever, I feel like for me personally, like this was the best closure conversation they've had. We've had like several up to this point that have meant nothing just because either she didn't know the whole story or there was, you know, anger or whatever on both sides. But overall, I kind of feel like um, it was a good like closure conversation. I kind of felt like they hugged it out, all the things. Um, I know everyone online is talking about this. So I'm just going to say the elephant in the room. There was like tension or whatever, but I also feel like that tension kind of came from like the closure, the hearing each other out. There's probably, and I wouldn't imagine it being any different. There's probably some regret on Casey's side because he did say, oh my gosh, he did say earlier in the episode that had he been more forthcoming and had they had better chats like that, um, or he said it right after. He said, had that happened, he feels like their journey would have been smoother. So there is some regret and probably some hurt from that, because if all things are true that he said about, his feelings and whatever, I wouldn't imagine anyone getting over whoever they're with for that long, that quickly. And even from Anaya's side, I just wouldn't picture that if the feelings are genuine. So yeah, right now they're my favorite like divorced couple. That's like my running joke. But I feel like the conversation was kind of like wholesome, and I feel like that was the closure that they needed. So
Yeah, I
the floor is
agree.
yours, Jordan.
I um I like that he admitted that he was holding resentment because I feel like that was evident. Like we could all see that. So I'm glad that he acknowledged that and he admitted where he was wrong. And I'm glad that Anaya was actually able to hear him out and let him explain himself. Because again, I think that has been an issue in every conversation that they've had. Like I really think she was holding
Mhm.
a lot of what other people said over his head sometimes and like not really hearing him out. So I'm glad that they were able to squash it and we can all move forward because honestly, I was getting tired of talking about it. Like genuinely, it got to be too much.
No, it's so funny because um, no, you know what? Oh no. Okay. From a production standpoint, I feel like I said, they want to suck as much from every storyline as possible for their own benefit as well. And I feel like Casey and Anaya, like, they kept having to have these conversations because, like Casey wasn't upset or Anaya would get up or they would be like, they wouldn't really be hearing what each other is saying. And I think that, like he said, I think he got tired of arguing. And I think it just became like this resentment because like even in his personality. So I feel like and on Anaya's side, like, she was upset because he wasn't as forthcoming or he wasn't, you know, as I guess straightforward or transparent. And he did mention that as well. Like he wasn't as transparent as he should have been, all that stuff. So I feel like that was like the perfect conversation for me personally now, or kind of like, oh, I feel like Casey still likes Anaya. I honestly don't agree with the he never liked Anaya thing. I think that after a while he stopped, he built up the resentment, and then it made him not like Anaya, obviously, and that's why he was saying all that stuff. I don't think it's that he never liked her. I just think that like there's there's sides to the situation that made it hard for him to argue all the time. Like I think that for him, in his eyes, their whole thing was like them arguing constantly. But from her eyes, she wanted clarity kind of thing. And I don't think either of the, in terms of like the actual conversation, but I do think that that I don't think either of them were as transparent because of how much emotionally they would be triggered. So, which caused them to not hear each other out and stuff like that. So, I don't really blame either of them at this point. I don't really have a lot of like, to be honest, I actually don't really like, and it's probably a hot take, but I don't really hate Casey anymore. I'm kind of like off that. I think that if the Islanders move on, we all should too. And I think that that applies to every Islander, like you said earlier too, even with like the Zach Bryce and Trinity and Kate. Like I think all that, like we kind of just got to move on with them. If they're cool, we got to be cool.
Well,
So,
I
um,
agree. Like, I don't really, I'm
yeah,
not a
especially because
fan
we don't
of,
know these people, but
oh, sorry, I didn't know. Can you hear me? I was gonna say I'm neither a hater nor a fan of Casey. I really don't care at this point. I'm glad that they had that conversation and it's squashed. I can move on from it because if Anaya doesn't care, why would I care? And if Casey doesn't care about the whole Anaya
and
thing, yeah, why would
like
I
we said,
care?
a lot of the things that were shown at movie night, she wasn't like specifically mad at each individual thing that he said or did or whatever. Like half the movie went on and the girl didn't react until like the Costa stuff, which is fair. You know what I mean? I'm just saying like half of that was in the villa, and so I just think like when they move on, we must follow. Like it's not, unless something happens outside the villa, that's a different story. But for now, I'm cool. Um, and then Melanie and Sincere, they have a conversation, and he mentions like people pleasing and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, you are, but you're, in that you also lie. Um, and Zach and Bryce kind of think that like it's done, like whatever. Um,
I think it
and yeah,
should be, but I don't think it's done. I think it should be, but
I know. All right, episode 27. I think this was last
yesterday,
night.
yeah.
Whew. Okay, good. So Anaya, Mel, and Trinity have a conversation. This is how the episode starts. And she said that that's the most genuine that she's seen Casey. And she kind of says, he deserves happiness and all that stuff. And Trinity says that she hates to say it, but she does agree. And Mel says that her convos with Sincere are kind of just words and she wants action. And Trinity didn't want to push a decision on Melanie, but she wants her to at least try with Sincere. And Anaya and Trinity uh, feel like they know what Mel's like heart is saying, which I'm like, anyway. Um, then Corbin, go ahead, go ahead.
I don't want to, because at this point, I feel like I keep reiterating this, but it's just like you can feel how her heart is saying, but as a friend, you need to be the logical thing in her ear, telling her, like, hey, for your happiness and for your future, maybe this isn't the way to go, Like, just because
Literally,
she
like
likes
that's it.
Sincere, right? Just because she likes Sincere does not make him the best option for her. Like,
Period. Yep. Period. Point blank. Then Corbin, Sincere, and Casey have a conversation. They ask Casey how the conversation went, and he says that he feels really relieved. He felt bad the whole day about it. And Sincere thinks that, and I wanted him to feel that way. I'm sure she did. Why not? And he says that, you know, like I said, things would have been different had he been more transparent. And I said the same thing about that, like not too long ago when they were first arguing and stuff. I was just kind of like, I think if they had conversations like how they had the night before, their journey would have been very different in there. Um, and so, yeah, so it's kind of a shame, but it's okay because we've all moved on. But I'm just saying. And then Casey says that it's going to take actions for Sincere to get back with Melanie. And then Caleb is upset about no reassurance from Jaden. This is so random.
Yeah, their
I'm
fight came
so
out of
sorry.
nowhere.
No,
And
you
honestly,
know how
I
the
didn't
producers do. They give you airtime when you're about to get dumped. So I was like, here we go.
just I didn't even care about it because I'm just like, this is so pointless at the end of the day. Like, do y'all really like each other to be fighting like this over literally nothing? Like they fought over literally nothing.
Also, since we're talking about Caleb right now, I just looked on Twitter like during our little intermission, and the everyone says that he's following everyone except Bryce. I mean, Bryce and Trinity and Anaya.
You
Apparently,
know what?
that's the tea. So everyone's like freaking out about
That
that right now.
that doesn't surprise me because let's call it what it is. He's a southern
Like,
white boy.
let's call it what it is, right?
Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I
from
don't know.
Charleston. You know
From
what I mean?
Charleston.
Um,
Anyways,
yeah. And then, anywho, um, sorry, I'm trying to get to like the interesting parts of my notes. Um, I, I can tell production like doesn't like Casey. I'm just mentioning this because it was very obvious and like people were pointing it out after the episode aired. Like they didn't show them, not that I needed to see it, but like they didn't show them like at all in bed like everyone else. Because I replayed the scene and I was like, did they like go somewhere? Did something happen? Like what happened? And they didn't show them like at all. I just thought that was kind of weird. I don't know.
I
Um,
probably don't like
and then
him, to be honest. I don't know. I
they
feel
don't,
like, I
and
think, and
it's
you want to
fine.
know why I think that? Because, and this is just my opinion. I haven't gotten in
No,
her
I think
just
you're
from
right.
into
Like I don't think that they like him either. Yeah,
but I think it's because of the whole, like, I think Casey and Anaya, I feel like week one, I think people wanted them to win. And like, I don't know if production really first
yeah, they
saw.
have the biggest fan bases with Trinity.
Yeah, I don't know if production foresaw it going like this. And like again, we've seen them multiple times have to pivot, and bringing Carl back for Anaya was one of those times. And so I think they do probably have some type of like disdain for KC just because of the way that whole Anaya situation
The
played
plan
out.
didn't
Like
go to plan.
exactly. Because, like, we can call
Yeah,
it for what it is. Anaya, they want Anaya to stay for whatever reason. So it's just, I think that is
yeah.
probably
I
what
hate to
it comes
say it.
down
I hate
to.
to say it, but she's yeah, and I genuinely hate to say it, but Anaya is definitely getting like the sympathy as
Maya
far as the
edit.
girls are concerned. I don't think it's Melanie. Yeah. Oh my gosh, sorry. Fly landed on me. Um yeah, she's getting yeah. And it's sad, but it is what it is. Okay, then Anaya says that she wants to be team sincere. And Kata said, what about Mel's feelings? What while Sincere is doing like the rose petal breakfast thing for her. And Anaya, they're basically the girls are kind of like having a moment, and her like, oh, you know, Sincere comes in the room, he pulls Melanie, and they're Kata and Anaya are like, oh, like Team Sincere, Team Sincere. I was like, Lord. Um, then Sincere and Melanie, Sincere says like this is the life that she deserves to have, and Melanie says like it's just one day and she needs more days like this to really like show her what she deserves from him. And yeah, basically, Jaden and Caleb, they're kind of just like, oh, we miscommunicated. Things kind of like got blown out of proportion. Uh, Kata complains. I think I just wrote this as a note. I was just like, Kata kind of complains about everything, and then nothing's ever really like changing. So
Yeah,
whatever. And then Gaul wants to talk to Amora. I was like, she's not interested. We don't even need to we don't none of that. We need to just move on. And then Jaden wants to give it another shot. She's talking to Kata and Anaya, and she wants to give it a fair chance with Caleb and make sure that they're both pouring into each other. Um, Caleb said that he likes Jaden, blah blah blah. Um, yeah, this is the boys are choosing for the recoupling, and this is when Sincere is kind of like, "Oh, I don't want to be like how I was last week," and Casey was like, "Literally, you were that last week. So, like, what are we talking about?" Um,
exactly.
Trying to act brand new. Anyway, the
Okay.
recoupling starts, and Bryce chose Trinity, Zach chose Kata, Corbin chose Parmita, Casey chose TT, Carl chose Anaya, Caleb chose Jaden, Sincere chose Melanie, Dylan chose Kenzie, and Gall chose Amora. Jen was then dumped from the island. Gonna miss you, Jen.
Well,
I don't think the girls really
I
like, none of them cried about Jen leaving. So
mean, everyone knew that was the writing on the wall, unfortunately. And someone had to go. Like, I like Jen, but she,
they
you
got too
kind
many
of just,
people in there.
yeah, like I
Not
wanted
enough
them to
for
dump
you to be on
half
my
the,
screen anymore.
no, they should have dumped four couples. No shame. Like, what are we doing? Let's clear this villa up. Too many people.
Like, what
Too
are we
many
doing? What are
people.
we doing? There need to only be like five or six up in there. Right.
Right. Really just
Anyways,
five.
so
We're on our last week. We only need
right.
five.
Yeah. Um uh I also did peep while Jen was leaving. Trinity and Casey did like hug at the end. I don't think a lot of people saw that because a lot of people I saw were saying like, oh, Trinity has like so much beef with Casey, but Trinity also like, let's be very honest, because we're about to get into this least compatible thing. I'm just gonna start with this because they showed this anyway. But
Yeah.
Trinity said that like even though Casey's been like doing a lot of stuff, um, basically, she didn't feel like his couple was incompatible. And to
Mhm.
be very even more clear, nobody voted for Casey and TT, which also kind of said a lot for me as a viewer because I you never really know because everyone's kind of like in this like it's anyone's game kind of thing right now. And I think it said a lot. There's a lot of couples that weren't voted, but those are the people I expected. But I didn't expect um, no one to vote KCT to be honest. So that was news to me. Um,
I'm just gonna say this. I think if they would have gotten any votes, it would have been petty votes at this point because as a couple, I think they're more compatible than him and Anaya were. So I think if they would have gotten votes, it would have just been
oh,
out
me
of
too.
hatred for KC. Honestly, that like literally.
Literally, literally, because I actually don't mind Casey and TT to be very honest. Like watching them doesn't make me feel any kind like I'm not meaning it doesn't make me upset. So I feel like it's working. Like,
I don't
for
know.
what it is, I feel like it's working.
They've had some weird moments, but at this point, it's just like everyone has. Like, I just can't. I don't have the time to fixate
But
on
that's what
it.
I mean. Like if I'm comparing, like it's not anything different from some of the other couples. So I'm just kind of like whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and then yeah, so two couples, blah blah blah. So they were basically just showing everybody talking about it. Permita and Corbin, I'm not gonna lie, like that whole segment of them talking had me laughing so hard because I feel like they were both very honest about their votes and like they're just funny to me. I don't know. But anyway, time's up and everyone had to say their two least compatible. So I wrote everyone's down. So Casey and TT, I didn't do it in order though. So I'm just saying who said what. Casey and TT thought that Amora and Gall should leave and Kenzie and Dylan should leave. Um, and I and Carl think that Amora and Gall should leave and Caleb and Jaden should leave. Trinity and Bryce voted Amora and Gall, Caleb and Jaden. Gall and Amora
Everyone
voted
voted
for Caleb.
Amora Gall except Amora
Amora
and
and
Gall.
Gall, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone voted Amora and Gall
Um,
except Amora
and
and
then
Gall.
literally, and then Melanie and Sincere, they voted for Melanie and Sincere, and then Melanie and Sincere, Amora and Gall, Dylan and Kinsey, Zach and Kata, Amora and Gall, Caleb and Jaden. Caleb and Jaden voted for Amora and Gall, and then Kenzie and Dylan. Dylan and Kinsey, Amora and Gall, and Parmita and Corbin. No shocker. And then Parmita says that Kenzie's wrong because her they were good looking. I just can't with Parmita. Like she says the craziest things sometimes. Like they're just so like Delulu that
It's just the fact that that's her only argument. I'm like, okay, you're kind of
I'm
proving
like,
Kinsey's
oh my
point.
gosh.
Like
But
she was kind
but
of proving Kinsey's point.
she was. But you know what? She came back with this heavy hitter, and I couldn't fault her for it. Um, so anyway, Caleb and Jaden and Amor and Gall, they received the most votes last night for the dumping. This was very obvious. These people are boring, no shade. Bye bye. I didn't think that the Islanders would have voted really any differently. Like I knew Amor and Gall, yeah, I knew they were going home, and Caleb and Jaden, because of how much they showed them earlier in the episode, I knew they were going home. So I wasn't really shocked at all. Um, but yes, I was very proud of Corbin and Parmita because not only did Corbin bring up the fact that Melanie was lied to, but he brought up the fact that everyone was lied to and that he wasn't with that. And I'm so happy that Parmita, who is 27, told that girl, Melanie, that, like love is not enough. Like liking somebody, she's like, it is very obvious that you like Sincere and Sincere likes you. But she was like, sometimes that's just not enough. Like you need more support. And I agree with that, whether it's Love Island or not. I think relationships need more substance than just liking somebody. Because you have to prove to the person in order to feel secure that you want them and you desire them and you want to be with them through action. And I don't feel like they've I don't feel like as a couple they've really proven that they can do that. And so her saying that like we understand that you like each other, but sometimes that's just not enough. And Melanie said, you know what, like that's what a good friend would tell me, and
Right. Clock it, Melody, because all of your friends are
acting crazy right now.
delusional. So yeah,
Right.
shout out Parmita for that,
Shout
for
out
waking it
Parmita.
up.
Because you know what, not only did it come from basically one of the oldest girls in the villa, if not the oldest, but it came from somebody that the public technically doesn't like feel any kind of way about. Like it came from a couple that wasn't biased one way or the other. And hearing that, and actually it was better that way because even though Corbin is friends with Sincere, he could clock Sincere. And even though Parmita isn't friends with Melanie, her not being friends with Melanie allowed her the space to be like, you know what, like this is not good for you.
Yeah, to
And
be
I'm glad,
honest.
yeah, and I'm glad that Melanie received it how she did because Anaya was sitting there and she was like nodding her head at what Parmita was saying. And, nobody voted for Melanie and Sincere other than like two couples, I think. But at the end of the day, like, to be honest, those girls haven't been honest with Melanie. Like, and maybe their truth is they want to root for Sincere, but Sincere is not good for Melanie. And I felt like Parmita was the perfect person. The way that she said it too, the delivery was right. Like it came from the right place at the right time. And I'm glad that Ariana asked Melanie how she felt about it because Melanie was like, honestly, fair. Like, honestly,
Yeah. And if
she
we're
received
being
it so well.
honest, Sincere and Melody should have been the ones to go home. I'm sorry. But
They
if
should
we're
have
talking
been.
about people who have, because they, for their reasoning behind Caleb and Jaden, they were going based off one argument that they had this
Yeah,
entire time. And Melanie and Sincere have been arguing this literally the entire summer. So
forever. Right.
forever. So I think what it came down to is that they were trying to save their friends, some of the girls, because at the end of the day, if we're really being honest with who should have went home, it probably should have been Amora and Gall and Melanie and Sincere. But I mean, it
Literally.
happens every year when people decide they want to save their friends. But
And this is my thing too. Like the first thing Ariana said as soon as they did that least compatibility stuff was this is not about friends. Like this is about who you think actually has a shot. at winning this thing. Pretty much. I mean, we're talking about compatibility. This is Love Island. Who do you think genuinely gets along? And I feel like when it came to certain couples, everybody was very honest. But when it came to Melanie and Sincere, they were not. Like those girls, they made it about friendship. Whether it's they want to keep Melanie, they want to see Melanie and Sincere thrive, whatever the situation, that's not what it's about. Clearly, Melanie and Sincere are not compatible. Caleb and Jaden, I also thought should have went home anyway. Literally, all six of them could have went home, and I would have been like, you know what? Yep,
Yeah, I mean,
because
they should have went home. They weren't gonna make it much further anyway, because like, yeah, they were having issues, but if we're really like talking about some of the reasonings why they picked them to go home, I feel like that goes for more Melanie and Sincere because they've had issues the entire time. Whereas they were basing Jaden and Caleb off of one argument, like literally one argument.
like
And
literally, and Caleb has been even through that argument. It was very respectful. Everybody, it kind of came strong and like out of nowhere. But at the end of the day, like y'all have seen Melanie and Sincere suffer for 5 weeks. Like we need to be for real about where and maybe from an Islanders perspective, it's like, all right, let's get rid of like Gall and Amora. I think that was fair because like that wasn't. But
it
I
wasn't
think
gonna be anything.
right. But I also knew that they would keep Melanie and Sincere because I think that production also wants Melanie and Sincere in the final. If I'm keeping it all the way a band, but like I think right now the public is so like up in arms about how Sincere has treated Melanie. I just hope that that shows in the votes, to be honest with you. That's all I can hope for because regardless of who you think is going to work or not work like in the villa or if they're going to work it out in the villa, like real life is going to come. This man has had 5 weeks to prove to that girl that he wants her as bad as he says he does. To this day, he hasn't proven anything other than I could get the next one and I already know you're going to pick me. That's what he's proven. And yeah, sure, Melanie has definitely in some ways supported that by picking him. But at the end of the you like the public keeps making all these comments about how drained Melanie looks, and I'm like, yeah, but y'all keep voting for this. So like the girl keeps suffering because she won't self evict because she wants to stay with her friends. But and I think that the everything is kind of signs for her, like the owl thing. I don't know if you've seen that, but the owl thing and
Yeah,
stuff. Like Melanie has got to get away from him. Like we're at
yeah.
that point.
I mean, honestly, I feel like this is like starting because we can like start wrapping up. Honestly, I think like going into next week, I think I honestly see her and Sincere. Honestly, I see Casey and Tiara being in the bottom. I can see Dylan and Kinsey being in the bottom just because I feel like where we're at right now, I just see a lot of people supporting Brinity and Carl and Anaya. But that's just my timeline. I don't know
I was about to
where
say, I
everyone
see like
else.
all the other
Yeah,
um
that's what I'm it's like. I that's just like what I'm seeing.
well,
I don't know how
you're
it can
not
go.
wrong either. I think most people are supporting one or the other. That's why I'm like the rest of them, I don't know where the votes are going because I do think the bottom three, like I don't know how they're gonna do it, but I think the bottom three will definitely be Casey and TT, Kenzie and Dylan, and Corbin and Parmita. Um, I don't know if that's 100% yet. Like I don't know because everyone wants the core four to be in the final and all that anyway. But the only couple that I could see making it to Family Day, depending on how they do the votes or depending on how, like, if the Islanders vote or whatever, is Casey and TT. I think they can make it to Family Day, but like, I don't know. I don't know about Kenzie and Dylan yet because Kenzie's stocks are not very high right now, and I think Corbin and Parmita are just there for.
I think the Islanders are gonna be the one to save them. And if I'm being so honest, I think they would pick Corbin and Parmita over Casey and TT if it came down to what the girls thought, just because they
They
don't
could,
like
yeah,
Casey that much.
yeah,
I really think. Like,
yeah.
I think it could go that way, but we'll just have to see. I think
It could
all in
go that way,
all,
yeah, for sure. No, I
yeah.
agree. That's why I'm like between the three of them, it's kind of anyone's game. I don't really know yet if they would vote for like Dylan and Kinsey over that over. the other two? They might
I don't.
because,
I don't think they would,
but
to
I
be
don't think
honest,
they
because
would. I think
the guys don't like how she's been moving, and the girls are like waking up to it. So I don't think they would keep
exactly.
her,
Yeah, so
especially
I'm a
since
little
she's
bit,
gone through so many people. But
yeah. I Kenzie's time is kind of it's up now for me. For me. I
oh,
think as
it's
a
been up for
viewer,
me.
yeah, been up. So yeah, it's I don't really see the point. But yeah, I think that um yeah, I don't know, honestly. I think that they're trying to get Casey and Gigi out, like production is. So that's why I said it's kind of anyone's game depending on how they do it. Um, because I think because of last night and the whole Corbin and Parmita thing, and them saying what they said, I think that their stocks went up a little bit, but I don't know. We shall see. Um,
Yeah,
but it
I
is
do.
anyone's game because I don't know about Zach and Kata. Like, I haven't seen anyone vote for them, so I don't. I genuinely have no idea.
I think production will keep them around. I really
Me
do. I'm
too.
not worried
Yeah.
about them. I don't think people are voting for them, but I'm not worried that they'll be in
I'm
the
not
top
worried. I
four.
think that they'll be safe. Yeah. Um, yeah. Okay. I'm trying to find a meme. So if you have one, you can go first.
I don't know if this is like a meme, but I saw this tweet and I thought it was funny. Because a lot of people in the Brinity fan base have been like joking that Corbin is Brinity's number one supporter. So,
Mhm.
so someone tweeted Bryson, his son, who likes misbehaving, but what he got to do, and it's just a picture of my phone does this. It's a picture of Bryce and Corbin standing at the mirror, like posing, and Bryce just looks tired because like he's been dealing with his bad children the
Oh
entire.
my gosh.
Like his
That
hair
is
is
so
messed
funny.
up in this photo. It's like
No,
tousled and
literally,
everything.
that is so funny.
Yes.
Um, Dang, why am I struggling? Why is Twitter not doing the Twitter things right now?
You know what? It's real. It was kind of hard to find something this week, not even gonna lie.
Wait, sorry, you cut out, I think.
I was saying like it was kind of hard to find something to show this week.
Okay, I do have something, and I think that this just like arrived like a little Christmas present. Since we were talking about Kata and Zach just now, um, someone said this is the kind of picture your kids used to show their mom back in the day, and it's of Kata, and she's stunning. So
Yeah,
yeah,
she is model-esque. Like she just has that vibe.
I've seen so many people recreate like her makeup, and she's like gorgeous.
She really is. She really is. Well, it's been a crazy week.
It's been wild. It's been real
Yeah.
and wild, but it's been real.
Yeah, we only
Um,
have 1 week left. And can I honestly say, like, this has been the highlight of my summer. Like, normally I would just be
Literally
watching it
same.
as a viewer, but I had so much fun, like, talking about all of these things this summer, sharing our takes, posting. Like, it's been great. And I've loved
Yeah.
every second of it.
Yes. I also want to say that too. Like, um, we are greatly appreciative of anyone that has tuned into our content at all. And also, this has been such a highlight for me too, just because it's been like such a wild summer. But even with this cast, my goodness, it has been crazy. But nonetheless, it's been really fun. And like we said from the beginning, we both love this show. So it's been really nice to like talk about it and debrief with each other, especially because like Jordan and I talk about Love Island all the time. So
Literally.
so it's like, but it's been so fun. I'm so sad. This is like the second to last episode, unfortunately, because the final is upon us, you guys.
Yeah,
6 weeks is more than enough in that villa.
exactly.
The reunion is coming though, so
And we
um,
did talk about doing an
a
episode for the
reunion one.
reunion, which
Hmm.
will be fun because we'll actually
Yes,
be back at school together
yes, that
in
would
the
be so
same
fun.
vicinity. Yeah,
Yeah, literally.
yeah.
Yeah, we've been
Honestly,
doing this on Zoom.
yeah, we have. Honestly, we could even like invite our friends to like pop in. I'm
I
sure they have
know.
stuff to
Give their
say.
takes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be so fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but this has been like seriously so fun. And it's been fun, especially for me, because normally there's only like a very small group of people that I can talk about Love Island with, because like in my cluster of people, there's like only certain people that watch it, obviously. So, but this has been like so fun because we're both like fangirls of the show, you know what I mean? So I'm so happy that I'm so happy we've been able to like work this out, honestly. Like
Yeah,
even with
me
the distance,
too.
like this has been like kind of smooth.
Yeah, it went really well. I'm proud of us.
Yeah.
I really am.
Big ups to us in the
Yes,
chat. Big ups to us in the chat.
literally.
Like
But
we've done it.
yes, we have. But with all that being said, continue to like, subscribe, comment down below your thoughts. We would love to hear it. We'll see you guys next week for our last podcast. Can't wait.
Yes, for the review of the final, guys. So stay
Exactly.
tuned for that because it's gonna be a big day. And they apparently they said that like the Love Island final might be 3 hours this year because of all the
Oh
unseen footage. So
my gosh, they're doing too much now.
I know, I know. I'm like,
Absolutely
all
not.
right, this is a marathon, please.
Right. I guess we'll have a lot to talk about then.
I know. Oh my gosh. But yeah, this has been so fun. I'm so grateful that we got to do this and I'm so happy that we've been able to make this work with the distance and stuff. But yeah, it's been really fun and we can't wait to check back in with y'all next week for the finale.
Yeah. Well, with all of that being said, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye
Bye.
guys.